Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a best-of-7 series between PrinceofKabul and WickedCossack. Pardon me if you're going to hear this for the third time, but I think this will be the start point for the YouTube video. The winner of this series will progress through to the LAN. The loser will be eliminated. This is a big one. PrinceofKabul and WickedCossack, two very, very strong players. Cossack a bit sort of less known. He's not played in a tournament since 2016 and rocks up in incredible form. It's quite surprising sort of how well he did against you, Mitoe, in the previous series where he almost qualified. That was a nail-biting 4-3 series. So Cossack, a force to be reckoned with, and his strongest civilization is India. We're watching out for that today. It's going to be very interesting to see what he has prepared, because last time we saw quite an unorthodox build involving 3 cards in Age 1, and it worked out. He did win that game versus Mitoe, so I'm looking forward to seeing what WickedCossack has prepared. But yes, here he is in the south of the map, in the color red, playing as the Germans. His scout going right off to the side. He's going to find a sheep. No treasures just yet, but playing as Germany. It is a coin start, and it doesn't want to go to the middle, where usually they do go. There's sort of more goats here. Looks like the Iroquoise player using his initial travois to pick up a couple of goats there. And there's more here as well, so that's why we usually see players go to the middle. But I think WickedCossack is up against a much stronger explorer and doesn't want to risk sort of getting involved. Would rather go for treasures on the side if he finds, oh, look at this, a nice juicy 85 wood treasure there. And then he would know that his opponent probably wouldn't be nearby. Does find his opponent here. He's not going to get into hand combat, going to want to avoid that, but does take a few pot shots. There is a goat here. Looks like it's going to head home, and it will get home safely, as he can see where his opponent's explorer is. But I should introduce the Iroquois player, PrinceofKabul, playing as the Iroquois in the color blue. Prince had a bit of a rocky start this tournament, losing to I Am Turk. But since then, in the lower bracket, has performed really, really well and had lots of quite convincing victories. And now it comes down to this. The winner of this series does qualify. Will the SKG field a second member to the LAN, being PrinceofKabul, or will WickedCossack prove too dominant? I suppose we're going to find out. But yes, I should stop rambling and introduce Mitoe, who is casting alongside me today. His mic quality isn't usually what it is. Does pick up another goat. That's pretty nice for Cossack. We'll see if he can get it home. He's a long way from home. Going to send it off in that direction. Is this a bait for the explorer? Anyway, go ahead, Mitoe.
Yeah, well, what to say? This, like I said earlier, this matchup is kind of interesting. Just because I feel like there's a lot of ways that this can play out. We could end up seeing both players in Fortress, both players in Colonial, one person being aggressive, and stuff like that. It's, there's definitely a plethora of options available to them, but I think the one setting the pace this game is probably going to be PrinceofKabul on that Euro, just because the Iroquois has the option to sort of age up a little bit more quickly with that forward war hut and stuff like that, and they can sort of set the tempo of the game. And knowing PrinceofKabul, he's a pretty aggressive player, so I'm kind of expecting him to try and be aggressive this game. And ooh, getting snared there. This could make getting that trading post up a little bit more difficult, but he's still got plenty of HP. Should be able to get on home just fine.
I feel like I interrupted you. But you finished my thought anyway. He's quite an aggressive player. PrinceofKabul wants to set the pace of the game, you say.
Yeah, what is he aging with?
He's going up the wise one, okay. The wise woman, so not the messenger. It doesn't look like it's going to be a super fast age.
No, but he did age with 14 villagers, so one villager earlier than standard, although 14 has sort of become one of the new standards for Eero on the ESOC patch. So he could still play aggressively with this, but it will also leave the fast age open to him for potentially a fortress age later on. And I like that longhouse placement as well in the corner there, just because it's going to make any Ulan raids that might come through there very obvious. It should cover pretty much everything over there. Also, that villager just walking straight up there to get that treasure.
It's gonna miss a forward villager. I wonder if this was to place a forward structure or something. Just looks like it's seen the longhouse now and certainly doesn't want to do anything like that. But does pick up a macaque for sure. Is now going to head home with that villager.
I think it was actually just headed straight for the monkey. I'm pretty sure he scouted up there with a goat. earlier. I'm not 100% sure, but it looked like it was pathing straight towards that treasure, and I imagine he did scout up there with the goat, as he did know where the Iroquois explorer was for the majority of this Age 1.
Yeah.
And that will just enable him to scout the Euro player while he gets that trading post up, and without risking his explorer, and also allow him to pick up a couple more goats, as he did on the top side there. And yeah, it's going to stumble across the travois here, potentially, so definitely going to pay off for him.
He does find the travois. And Iroquois now going for 80 coin in the middle of the map after he's put down a trading post there. The monkey knows that it's nearby and he's going to see all of these things. It was nice. Picked up... Oh, but he's going to lose it. Yeah, using the crack shot on the monkey. Rest in peace, Freitag. But I think not before... Well, he wouldn't have seen the structure. Obviously, this doesn't appear to your opponent, and I'm not even convinced it was in line of sight either. So certainly won't know that this is here. But he did see the travois moving through this area of the map, so probably expects it. Yes, Wicked Cossack going to throw down a wall here. He's expecting something aggressive and wants to make sure he has his defenses up. Cossack is actually, as we saw in his series against you, Mitoe, really, really on point with his base building. He likes to leave the pillars in for extra safety, although it is more expensive to do that. But is going to continue that theme with some walls. First shipment does come out in the Colonial Age. It is 700 wood. And those two Uhlans now racing across the map. They find another goat. Let's see what he does with the wood then. Looks like...
Yeah, I imagine the wood is just going to be for some additional market upgrades, as well as some units from this barracks. Just going to be giving him a little bit more breathing room with his macro, as sending 3 settler wagons would make it a little bit harder for him to get the houses up and get units out at the same time.
But this is a big button push.
Yeah, it looks like it. But the 5 vills coming first, so it's not super aggressive, but it looks like he could walk into the space, he'll probably spot out the wall, and then maybe move on to this trading.
Yeah. Pikes coming out, though. It looks like Cossack expecting the 4 Kanyas shipment. Not going to be the case. It's a 5 tomahawks from the forward war hut, plus the big button tomahawks that I saw being researched, leading to 10 tomahawks, and the pikes not going to do very well against that, but... does need them, has to start with them. You can't just blindly go into crossbow. Does now have those and is looking forward to come and use their extra range and take out some tomahawks, maybe make Prince of Kabul pay a little bit for trying to destroy it too. Kanya coming out. Thank you very much, the only boss for the subscription with Prime. And now with the Kanya there, looks like this trading post is going to go down.
I think Prince may be losing quite a few vills back at home, though. The Uhlans have been in his base for quite a while now.
He's lost one villager by the looks of it. So yeah, it was a successful raid with those 2 Uhlans, which are very low HP actually, but nonetheless did get some kills. Trading post does go down.
They forced 2 Kanya to come home as well, just to defend. So that's alleviating a little bit of the pressure from his base. Although now with the Uhlans getting cleaned up, Prince will probably be feeling a little bit more comfortable with that.
Yeah. Follows up with 3 settler wagons here. So Cossack not going to overreact with a military unit shipment or something like that, sticking to the very strong early Colonial Age card, 700 wood for all those villager seconds. It immediately gives you indeed 3 settler wagons as well, one of the strongest shipments in the game. And there is one Uhlan roaming the map here. Looks like the Tomahawks are not going to be pushing forward. They come back to the middle of the map.
Yeah, and look at Prince's macro right now. He's actually gathering gold, and he's actually going to be aging with this next shipment. Wicked Cossack will, of course, scout that with that Ulan with the villagers on the gold mine, possibly even solid crates. So he'll be aware that there is an age up coming, and you can see he himself is also macroing to age up behind this. So just going to be a semi-FF from both players. Pretty similar build orders.
Yeah,
but
looks like he's waiting on 700 coin. He's got 1,600 food in the bank there, which is a little bit awkward. And but should be here any moment now, and should be able to get up to the next stage. I guess that TP going down might have delayed it a little, and Prince is going to have a bit of a head start in the Fortress Age. He's going up with the Messenger.
Yeah, losing that trading post really hurts a lot as Germany. Your shipments are, of course, very valuable, especially in the Fortress Age. They're worth around 1,300 to 1,500 resources each. So losing that trading post is going to hurt him a lot in the early Fortress here, and Prince is going to be dropping down a second trading post himself just to try to improve upon that advantage already, and that's going to potentially make the early to mid fortress a lot stronger for him. He's going to be up sooner. He's going to have more shipments available, and Wicked Cossack is going to have a hard time pushing out of his base, I think, just because by the time he gets a one shipment in, Prince will potentially have two shipments himself, and that could mean that matching the force power count with his own skirmishers or something like that is going to be more difficult. There's no Falconet shipment or anything like that for Germany, so he doesn't really have that sort of advantage that other Europeans sometimes have against Euro in the Fortress Age. So it's really going to be on him to try and make something happen, and Prince can sort of just sit back, mass up, and hold on to the map, and wait to see what Wicked will try to do.
Look at this. One Tiger left at home to defend. That's really nice. The Tiger actually puts up a reasonable fight against a single Ulan, so no villagers going down here. But Prince is well and truly up to the Fortress Age now. First shipment has arrived. 6 Kanya horsemen going to rendezvous with the rest of the Tomahawks he trained earlier. Elite Kanya now in queue, and it looks like he's going to be pushing very, very soon. Meanwhile, at home, Wicked Cossack. Let's take a look at his deck. You said there's no Falconets, that is true, but what is in his deck? Very normal German deck by the looks of it. The Big Four, as we call them. A couple of Merc shipments.
Yep, that's about as standard as it gets with the German H3, probably.
Yeah. Looks like he's coming out to the side, though. This is good use of time, I suppose. There is a longhouse there. You've still got some pikes from Age 1. And you can use them to destroy the longhouse. It is going to force Prince of Kabul out in the open. I'd like to see one of these pikes a bit further forward so they could see it coming, but they are going to give notice.
Well, he does have his crossbows positioned behind them, so he could potentially pull these pikemen away when he spots the army here.
Yeah. And that's going to be enough to save the longhouse and frighten the pikes away. But they're now coming back in. It is quite low HP. But Elite Tomahawk now coming in, and Wicked Cossack now getting Veteran Ulan. Longhouse does go down.
And it looks like Prince is actually going for a little bit more of a cavalry-heavy army. It looks like, does he have a stable at home? Did he use his Travois for that, by any chance?
He does have a stable at home.
Okay, so...
Well, he built a stable somewhere. I think it's here. Yeah.
Right, and he's adding in a fire pit now as well. This sort of signals to me that he might be thinking about pushing soon. Germany, of course, is probably going to want to send 8 skirmishers as their first card. Of course, we know Wicked Cossack hasn't, but that's sort of what you would expect from them. And without the trading post, not having that 3 war wagon shipment or potentially an Ulan shipment behind that 8 skirms can mean that an early Cav mass can sometimes be pretty scary for Fortress Age Germany to deal with, which might be what Prince is going for here. Obviously, Wicked Cossack is not going for that, but either way, it looks like Prince might be trying to exploit some sort of early weakness in Fortress with that early Kanya shipment. But for the moment, just going to be sitting in the choke point here, going to be waiting for any raids to come through. And Wicked Cossack, of course, hasn't confirmed where that war hut is, so not going to be pushing directly towards that, but he is going to spot the army.
Here we go. Kanya coming forward. They want to get on top of the crossbow, but there are some pikes and war wagons in the back, and certainly Veteran Ulan as well, which will be good against the Kanya horsemen there. Brawling it out in the middle of the map. And a few forest prowlers coming in from behind, and they'll be quite strong against the war wagons in that position. But looks like all the cav now going down. Just a few Kanya left at the end of the day there, just the 2. And looks like it went quite well, that fight, for Prince of Kabul. But he should be able to escape here. There's just a couple of half HP Kanya.
Yeah, with those melee Tomahawks mixed in, they just shredded through those Ulans. Because Tomahawks do much more damage to cavalry than other musketeer units in melee mode.
Yeah.
So that really helps
look at
there.
this.
There's an 8 Ulan shipment on the way, though, but I don't think there's enough here. Although with the war wagons behind it, maybe he will be able to make something happen here.
Yeah. And that's the having a hard time getting into combat, but Ulan very strong, cavalry very strong against the skirmisher, but there's so many skirmishers there, and Wicked Cossack gonna get back against that. And as soon as the fight ends, the villagers jumping off the fire pit. They were on the attack dance, but now getting back to work here. Looks like Wicked Cossack, a few villagers gone a little bit astray. And they are going to be found by some Kanya horsemen there. This is looking pretty good for Iroquois. A couple of Vil kills and a really nice trade.
Yeah, definitely. There's no way that Germany can deal with this 4-prowler mass at the moment. Even if he gets out Jaegers, it's going to be very, very difficult for him to deal with. And now he's running out of resources back at home. There's only that one gold mine left, which I imagine probably doesn't have that much left in it. His Vils are kind of exposed on the southern side, and Prince now walking down towards there just to check that area. And he is actually going to swap the Vils. Wicked was trying to place the houses for line of sight, but that's a little bit too late. And all those villagers are going to go down. And this is probably going to be the first win for Prince here with those Vils going down. Wicked Cossack going to come in for one last-ditch effort with the Ulan Masters. Only 5 musket riders here to really deal with that. Not even 5, I believe. And I think it's going to be enough, though. Those Forest Prowlers just too strong. And the Ulan's pretty low HP.
Yeah. And that's a pretty convincing fight for Prince of Kabul. All the cav going down, but Cossack has to push in here and fight anyway. He needs that food, he needs that location, and now he's behind on villages, so he's going to have to be aggressive if he wants to win this. But the Ulan, they've done enough. They've done a little bit of damage, but now the Forest Prowlers are free to focus on what they're good at, which is the war wagons there. Not enough skirmishers really to contest this. And Prince of Kabul finds himself 6 villagers up. Now dropping a town center, gonna solidify that, turn that victory, slow down just a moment to place that and use that, get a bit further ahead that way.
Yeah, and Wicked looks like he's going to maybe be turning his attention towards that top side with those Ulans. He knows that he's behind Danico, and he has to make something happen. He has to do some damage if he wants to stay in the game. But Prince of Kabul is aware of that, and he himself is also heading towards this top side.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, if you're Prince of Kabul, you've got to be feeling pretty comfortable from this position. 1,200 resources coming in as well, which he did use for that town center. But it's also going to just help fuel that musket rider count. As we can see, it's starting to grow quite high now, which is going to mean the big Ulan switches from Germany aren't going to be a threat. And since there's not really any way for Wicked Cossack to catch up in the skirmisher count at the moment, that's going to give Prince a pretty nice army to deal with the rest of the German forces, and he's going to push right in here underneath the tower, force the villagers off this gold mine.
Yeah.
And with nowhere to gather, I think this is finally going to be the end of the game, potentially.
And it looks like Germany not going to be pleased to see infantry combat coming in on those elite forest prowlers. This sort of little forward, he was forging out the houses, and the outpost now going to go down. And behind this, Prince of Kabul just playing sort of super safe with his extra TC. Not going to push in there and do anything silly underneath the TC with all these walls. Just
he knows time is on his side.
Yeah. And this is something we saw from him versus Azemk as well, just playing very, very carefully. He doesn't want to throw anything away, and that's what we're going to see.
Just gonna clean up the tower and the houses up here, remove this vision from the map. Make sure Wicked Cossack doesn't feel comfortable returning up there. Although with the Jaegers out now, maybe he might look to try to get these villagers back on that gold mine. But this is sort of the last chance for him with these Jaegers. They're sort of his last hope. But with the infantry upgrades coming in now for the Forest Prowlers, honestly, Jaegers aren't even that much better than Forest Prowlers.
Yeah, 177 hit points, 22 ranged attack. The Jaeger... Yeah, not far behind. Although it is obviously a much better unit, but it's that one-time shipment, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, there's going to be more infantry upgrades potentially coming behind this as well, which is just going to make the Forest Prowlers a much more cost-effective unit. And,
but Cossack is looking strong at the moment. He's able to push out with this power spike.
I feel like Prince is maybe giving those Jaegers too much respect, but maybe he wants to wait for something like, maybe there's a 5 Cuirassier shipment or something coming behind this, and he sort of wants to wait for that before he tries to push in and end the game. He does have that town center as a shipment point up here, so if those skirmishers had pushed in any further, you would have been in danger of potentially a big button pop along with a shipment coming out or something like that. But for now, going to retreat. He is moving his villagers towards the southern side of the map to get those back onto those natural resources. But yeah, there we go. There's the 5 cuirassiers, and this is going to be go time for Prince, probably. I don't know that there's much that Germany will be able to do to hold this, but Prince is sort of on the wrong side of the map right now, the villagers being on the south side. He is going to clean up the house, but it's going to be a long walk down to the bottom side, which maybe could give Wicked Cossack time to get out another shipment, though I'm pretty sure he doesn't have one available.
Not yet. I don't think he's sending one, but there's a lot of villagers on coin. Let's switch on over to units in queue and see what he's got. War wagons in queue. I don't think he's going to be able to get out Black Riders or something like that, and there's not another ordinary shipment on the way either. But this could be the last stand. Oh no, and the Jaegers losing all of their range advantage against these cav. There are a few pikes here though, but they're not going to last long against this giant massive infantry. And that's a pretty scary looking army. 80 military unit population from Prince of Kabul there. And it looks like he's going to be able to clean up 5 more war wagons coming in, but it won't be enough. Wicked Cossack does say GG. And the first game going to Prince of Kabul here in this series. This is a best of 7 though, so a long way to go. And Wicked Cossack, he's still got all of his civilizations available, and he'll be picking second in the next match.
Yeah, pretty clean victory from Prince as well. Didn't do anything too crazy, just got that early lead off of killing the trading post, and then just sort of held on to that lead. And just played it slow and safe from there, and worked out well for him.
Yeah, let's take a look at all resources gathered as well. Cossack ahead to begin with, but some villagers go down, and it sort of tapers off, especially as they're moving around all the time. That was game number 1, but coming up next will be Baja, California, which has not been vetoed. And I'm being told the person with the most points at the end of this series, in terms of betting, will earn themselves a subscription. Or if they already have one, they get to choose who to gift it to, I suppose. So there is a small prize at the end. You can spam AoE wills.
Can we try something real quick?
We can.
Okay, what's your Discord info so I can add you?
We should almost certainly be friends on Discord.
Different account.
Oh, right.
Trust me.
Okay. I'll paste it for you.
Thanks.
You got to remove the line drop, by the way. It's more like this. So Mitoe might have a solution to his microphone if we're lucky. But I reserve the right to tell you to stop using your phone and go back to this if it doesn't work. So we'll try that. But yes, well done to Prince of Kabul taking the first victory in this series here. New subscription from Gryphoon AoE coming in with Prime for the 2nd month there. Thank you very much. It sounds like you have something to tell me.
It's not letting me add you. I have to get you to add me one sec.
Okay. But it looks like Prince of Kabul will be going Ottoman on this map. He has to pick first and has done so. Let's see how Wicked Cossack responds. Last time we saw him play, you almost qualified, and on this map played India versus China. But I wonder if India is something he'll go back to. Probably not against Ottoman. He needs to think about this one, he says. And that's important. You have to think about the civs that you're good at, the maps that are coming up, and all of these things. But let's take a look at the civ selection screen. I'm going to add Mitoe on a different Discord, and we will see if we can sort out this microphone quality. Okay, I've added you, Mitoe.
Okay.
Shall I just add that account to this?
Yes, go for it.
And then you can mute yourself or something like that. Okay, let's see how this goes. Hopefully, Mitoe's phone will be a bit better. But, you know you're licking the barrel when you're using your phone mic. What happened to the boom arm and etc. that you had?
Okay, how does this sound?
It does sound a lot better, you're right.
Wait, I can't hear you for some reason.
Oh god, I remember this issue. Well, it's okay, because Prince of Kabul picked Ottoman. That is confirmed. And Wicked Cossack, he's still having a think. He's still on Germany from the previous game. So it's not like we've missed anything. He's having a good thonk.
Okay, does this sound any better?
Yeah, it sounds a lot better. And we'll see how it goes, I suppose.
Alright. See, I told you it would be better.
It would, but there will be issues where you're trying to talk and I'm talking, and you won't be able to hear a word I'm saying, because I've tried this with Hazza before, but it is definitely better.
Pretty sure that won't be an issue.
Okay, well that's good. Ah, Portuguese coming out. Alright, after a long thonk, Cossack has decided that he will use his going second to play the Portuguese here. The matchup is now known. What do you think of this? These are two sort of potential water sieves. I mean, Cossack certainly has that option, and I think Ottoman do as well.
I definitely have opinions, but I also can't see the screen, so...
Okay, you need to, I think, use the computer for screen share and the phone for audio.
Yeah, exactly.
But, oh, right. It got turned off when we changed. Oh, that makes sense. Right. Okay. There we go. Alright, so Mitoe can now see the screen. Alright, this is warming up. Baja,
okay.
California. Portuguese versus Ottomans. What are your thoughts?
I feel like Port is a good pick here, and it's something that Wicked Cossack is really comfortable with. Just because those town centers, those early town centers, make it really difficult for Otto to be really aggressive. You can sort of defend while also going fortress pretty comfortably, and even a fast fortress, although harder for Port to deal with, can still be dealt with for sure without taking too much damage. And then you can use the water to sort of supplement your eco behind it to compensate for the fact that Otto's getting trading posts. And then, of course, late game, Portugal just has sort of the stronger army composition, especially with those Jeanette Dragoons that Otto struggles to deal with so much. So I really like the Portuguese pick, actually.
All right, we'll see how it goes. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to game number 2 in a best-of-7 series between Prince of Kabul and Wicked Cossack. Spawning in the color red, in the color Wicked Cossack? Yes, that's definitely right. We do have the Portuguese. Mitoe likes this pick. It's 100 food, wood, and another 100 food start by the looks of it. Explorer going to head across the map here. Perhaps he's going for a trading post. No, none of the vills are on wood, so that seems unlikely. Perhaps to find his opponent building a trading post? But no, Prince of Kabul placing his down in the middle of the map there. So not going to be found today, and it looks like he will get the pass as well. Trading post is about to be finished.
Yeah, that's gonna be really, really nice for Otto as well. He's going to have that shipment ready super early. Let's see if he gets it. Almost has it ready. With that XP treasure, he'll get it for sure. At 53 seconds in the game. So he'll get his villagers in around 130-ish, 125-ish, something like that. Or no, what am I saying? It's 40 seconds, not 30 seconds. So around 135-ish.
Yeah.
And that's going to give him quite a bit more food to speed up his age up, which just gives him a lot more options in general.
Yep. I think the only issue with the phone is that you're a bit quieter, but that's an easy fix on our end, so maybe we'll turn you up and just make sure everything's going all right. Let us know in the chat all of these things, but the explorers do eventually find each other. Looks like Cossack didn't find him on the top, but we'll find him a bit further down. But looks like Red's taken a bit of damage. Wicked went for a 75 food treasure, by the looks of it, and lost some HP in the doing so, and does get caught The snare is now on him, but he does pick himself up a native scout. That's why he allowed that to happen. Was quite a risky pickup, but is successful there. I guess he had the advantage of knowing when he would crack shot, and his opponent wasn't quite ready for it. But a native scout really turns this, and now the Prince of Kabul going to have to get on out of there. That's a really nice find. And look at the scouting.
Yeah,
this game just taking place in such a small area of the scouted map. Ottoman going to be really pleased with that. They have usually issues with scouting with just that one explorer. Portuguese, but also Ottoman. But he's not the one who got the native.
Yeah, for sure. That native scout's going to be super important for Wicked Cossack here, just because it's going to allow him to find out exactly what Ottoman's plan is in this game. Is he going to go for fast fortress, or is he going to go for something more aggressive? And that's really important because it will allow Wicked Cossack to prepare a little bit more adequately for that. Now, Wicked Cossack did go Eco Theory, and this is a build that I've seen him do a few times, where he does go Economic Theory, and then he'll build a dock in transition, and he doesn't go schooners or anything like that. Like, his plan isn't to go super heavy on water. He just wants to make like 10 to 15 fishing boats at most. And that Eco Theory will just affect the vills and the fishing boats. And that'll put him ahead that way. He pretty much just uses his age up wood and his 700 wood to get those boats out. Doesn't really invest too much into chopping, and then he can age up pretty comfortably behind it. We'll see how well that works against Ottomans, though.
Yeah. I wonder how this goes.
That being said, he's actually gone for a trading post.
Azamk in the chat saying that Cossack, not the best water player of all time, but he has dabbled and I think is competent to do so. But also Prince of Kabul, not a super experienced water player either. So we'll see how that plans out. But yes, he is. Oh, you mean Cossack? Yeah, he has built a trading post. I thought that was an unusual call from you. Of course, Ottoman would build a trading post, but no, Wicked Cossack has made a trading post. Will not be going for, just delaying the dock slightly. Off the 400 wood there.
I guess the trading post basically is just to deny
gathering
Ottomans
transition.
The whole stagecoach line, I suppose.
Right.
And especially if Otto is going for a fast fortress, killing that trading post would be much more difficult for him because he would have to spend quite a bit more time sieging that than he otherwise would. For example, if he wanted to be really aggressive in early fortress, it's going to cost him a long time to send Janissaries up there to go siege that down, especially when he's going to want to be pushing with his first card as Falconets or something like that. So I like that decision for sure. It is going to slow down his water boom just a little bit, but the amount that it hurts Prince of Kabul is probably worth it, and it is going to give him some more shipments moving into the Fortress Age as well, so overall, I think it's a pretty good decision. 700
wood hits the board, Wicked Cossack's first Colonial Age shipments, and he has 2 docks, so it looks like from that we're going to see quite a lot of fishing boats. He's currently got 2 in queue. Just to remind everyone, this is ESOC patch, and fishing ships cost 70 wood, so much easier to get than on RE patch there, but Wicked Cossack, he's going to be up against a fast fortress by the looks of it. Looks like Wicked Cossack will be dealing with that 700 coin that's going to get him up really, really fast, and then 700 wood for the infrastructure. We see that barracks immediately coming down, and the wood for the houses. We'll see what he does. I wonder, I imagine he'll train some Janissaries in transition at the barracks and then get Veteran Jan afterwards. Yeah, some Jans now in queue. And with those, we'll probably go up and handle this trading post whilst he's waiting for his first shipments and all of these things. But Jans are in queue on point. And now, Wicked Cossack following up with a market.
There's no forward tower for Prince of Kabul, so he aged with the Quartermaster, I imagine, right?
Yeah.
And this is going to slow down his early pressure by quite a bit, unless he actually intends to go for some kind of fast industrial. I can't exactly see what his resources look like, but he doesn't have really any villagers on gold, so he's switching a few now, and trading a few Janissaries. He's probably not going to be going for a fast industrial, but it is something that we have to keep in mind, as he is giving up quite a bit of tempo just to get that extra villager seconds from that Quartermaster age up. And that's going to give Wicked Cossack a lot more time in the Fortress Age to prepare for an early falconet push or something along those lines. And we'll see if Prince maybe has something else in mind. But for the moment, WickedCossack himself is aging up. Is he aging up with the exiled Prince, or is it slow age?
He is going up with the exiled Prince, that WickedCossack. But yeah, now up with the scout. 4 hussars have arrived. We'll see what his first shipment is. Let's take a look at text being researched. No veteran janissary, but the 5 that he did train... and 5 more. Okay, so that's why we're not going to be seeing that. Are going to siege this down. And this trading post also sort of buying him a bit of time, right? Whilst he has his 2 TCs and docks working.
Both time and information. Seeing exactly how many janissaries are out on this trading post, as well as directing the attention away from his own base and delaying Ottoman's economy by denying that trading post. All of these things are really good for WickedCossack. Although
the 4 cav have arrived. They have not seen the TC though, by the looks of it. They're just looking for villagers. That villager gets pulled. Will be safe. 1,000 wood from PrinceofKabul. Okay, so looking to. We saw Kanisi do this. He built a TC. I wonder what the wood's for. Certainly can get stagecoach, and there's wood enough for the trading post as well, and possibly an artillery foundry. We'll see what he.
Yeah, it's basically just gonna allow him to get that trading post, get stagecoach, and then maybe another military building or even 2 military buildings, and maybe a town center if he wants one. Looks like it is going to be an artillery foundry. So this is a little bit slower than you would maybe normally expect from Otto. It doesn't look like he's being super greedy with it, though, so I wonder if maybe he'll be sending like 1,000 coin next, or he already sent 8 janissaries, but I wonder what he's going to be using that artillery foundry for. It could be like falconets, so he gets that extra siege damage, or he could just be looking to get those Abus guns out to deal with these dragoons. I also like that Prince, on the top of the map right now, he's scouting along the coast just to make sure that there's no dock from Wicked on his own side, and he did confirm that that's not the case. So I don't know if his hussars spotted the dock on Wicked's side, but I imagine they did. But he knows that it's only on one half for the moment.
Yep. Cossack sees the units coming in. Stagecoach is now in as well, by the looks of it. 1,000 wood from WickedCossack as well. But that's a lot of janissaries staring him in the face. But maybe he can get away with it. His opponent is not being super fast either. But this wall is not going to be finished, and no, the villagers does stay alive. There are, however, 3 TCs here, and 3 sets of Minutemen that can be called. So these Jans, they're not wanting to get stuck in just yet, and in WickedCossack's deck... Okay, no... Damn, what's it called? Colonial Militia, that's it. None of that, but there is Advanced Dock. But not pushing in just yet, and a wall is going to go up. So Cossack's okay at the moment. The Falconets coming across the map, and as you said, not got that tempo, right? He doesn't have that forward outpost. He's not going to be able to ship the Falconets to that. They've had to walk all this way. And this extra time is really valuable to the Portuguese player.
Yeah, he's had a lot of time to sort of set up at his base. He's got an okay goon mass at the moment. It's not super scary, but he's set up these walls and stuff like that. He's got all his fish boom going. And sure, these falconets can sort of slow siege this town center, but it's going to take a long time to take that down. And losing one town center as port isn't even really a big deal, so he's probably feeling pretty comfortable with this defense at the moment.
Yeah, it's hard to even use 3 TCs effectively, so... Only having 2 isn't, it's more or less just buying you time. That's the value of the TC here. But the Dragoons coming in, they do get a nice volley on that Falconet there. And not paying too many Dragoons for it either. Let's take a look at units lost. I did lose 2 Dragoons there and maybe some hit points on the others. But that's, it's basically dead. And that TC, it's on 0 HP. It's got a fraction of HP, which is why it was still alive. But does pick one of them off. Coming around the back, it looks like he is going to take down an Abyss gun. Doesn't want to get stuck in on that Falk just yet, but 1 Falk is much more manageable. He's going to lose the TC, though, and a villager by the looks of it, but... and with the 2 TCs firing on it, that's actually really, really nice. He's going to lose a couple of villagers. That TC does go down. And coming in from the back again with the Dragoons. This time is going to try and grab it, and is going to pay Oh no, going to commit to the... Does manage to handle... Falcons are handled. This is really nice. And now his Cazadors are really safe. They're particularly vulnerable to Falconets just because they have fewer hit points than a regular skirmisher. But now that they're down, these are going to be quite strong against the Abbas and Janissaries particularly.
And behind this, Janissary combat came in for PrinceofKabul, which was, of course, it made this timing a little bit stronger, makes those Jans harder to deal with, but losing those Falconets means that he's actually just going to have to back out of here, and sending Janissary combat instead of something like 1,000 gold means that he's going to have a little bit of a slower follow-up here. There's not going to be Mamelukes coming immediately. There's not going to be like more Falconets on the way or anything. I mean, he does have a few Abus guns, which are really, really good against Cazadors, but not enough just yet. So for the time being, he's going to fall back, build that second town center, try to just hold on to the map as long as possible. And he's confirmed, at least a moment ago, that there was no dock on his own side, so he knows that even though Wicked Cossack is on the water, it's not like an insane water economy like we'd see from something like Kinesi going absolutely like crazy 4-dock boom or anything like that. So he knows that map control is still going to be important for Wicked Cossack moving forward in this game. And as long as he can hold on to it, Wicked Cossack needs to make something happen. In order to continue in the later stages of this game.
Fort Wagon comes out, and it's going to be placed in base at home. Okay, so he's not planning to get out on the map just yet, which is kind of the opposite of your point. I wonder what the fort's for. Are we going to see an industrial age up? Is this to secure some extra map? What's in his deck here? Genitors, to be expected. 2 heavy cannons and factories, nothing unusual. It is going down. There is a wall to defend it here, and now PrinceofKabul coming forward. He's going to see that, and he's going to try and fight for it. But there are a lot of Cazadors here, and Dragoons as well. I think the fort will be fine, although he is forcing a fight for sure here. Abbas gun's particularly good against both Janissaries and Cazador. So forcing a fight that Cossack might not necessarily want to fight in order to get the fort up. Minutemen being called. More Janissaries streaming into the base. The war was never finished. This is awkward. And now, no more Cazadors.
Yeah, it's not a great trade for Wicked, but the fort is going to go up. We'll see how much hit points it has, but here's where he's forced to siege with a few units here, which is going to make the trade go a little bit better for Wicked Cossack than it has been for the last moment
fort
here.
Is up, half HP.
Yeah, there we go. Gonna finally turn, and yeah, now with the fort up, I think Wicked Cossack will be just fine. And actually, even though he's lost all of his units here, killing all of PrinceofKabul's army here is actually really big, because Otto, they don't have a great eco behind this, even though he does have 2 town centers and 3 TPs. His economy's not spectacular. Although, I mean, I guess Wicked Cossacks isn't much better with all his villagers mostly on wood and berries and stuff like that. But, I feel like Wicked Cossack's got to be feeling okay with that trade, because that's going to be a hard fort to break, and he's building mills in the back of his base now, so, as you mentioned already, not actually going to be going for the map control. And if he just has more time to set up his economy, which having traded off that army is going to get him more time, then maybe he can sort of drag it out into the industrial age where his army will be a lot stronger. And we can see, just looking at his resources right now, it looks like he might be saving to try to go up to industrial soon.
Yeah, let's take a look at units in queue. No military units there, and 1,000 coin just coming in. I think, yeah, absolutely, he's intending to go up to the fortress age, industrial age, and the fort now getting repaired. This is an incredible building, and it's going to buy him the time he needs to get up to the industrial age, which is sort of where he wants to be. But yeah, you're in terms of economy, it looks like he's really far ahead. But on the berries and now the unupgraded mills and a lot of that wood being funneled into building mills, it's probably not quite as impressive as it looks. And Ottoman does have the stagecoach behind this, and he has got scaling potential. 2 TCs creating vills for free is quite nice. But Ottoman not really known as a super late-game civ. But it's looking okay for the time being. The army is starting to be remassed, and Advanced Arsenal coming in now as well, which is interesting. That's an Age 2 card. Let's take a look at his deck there. I guess is looking for cards that scale better into the late game. Unit shipments don't really achieve that as and it's, you know, a unit shipment would not be very effective against the fort here, so perhaps would rather just go with Advanced Arsenal despite being a Fortress Age card. But he is going to find some Vils out here on hunts, but they may be able to get away in a boat. That would be very risky, though. They could just be absolutely dunked. Those Abyss guns could one-bang the boat anyway, but it's worth a try because he's probably going to lose the Vils anyway, and does get away with 2 inside! There's 2 Vils in that boat, Mitoe. So
yeah,
it was
nice
successful.
save for
It was
him.
worth a try. Really nice. Okay.
Yeah, he did lose a fishing boat, though. Wasn't paying enough attention, but yeah, it does save the Vils, which is definitely nice for him, but at the end of the day, that's not super important probably for either player at this point. With Wicked Cossack now being up to the Industrial Age in a moment here, and he does have a shipment available, so he has access to those heavy cannons to potentially factories and stuff like that, and that's going to be where things start getting tricky for Ottomans, especially if he reaches the point where he can get both factories set up and get that Genitours card in.
What did he age with?
Did he age with Dragoons?
Yeah,
maybe?
I think so. Yeah, that must be right.
I'm not sure exactly what the age up is. Is it like 4 Dragoons and 4 Villagers or something?
I thought it was Grenadiers and Villages. Maybe as ports it's different. Okay, well, either way, I did see some Dragoons come out. I guess we can take a look at text complete. Does that show? The Viceroy, yeah. So it is that weird politician that gives you villages. And a bunch of random units, but it seems to be... Well, he doesn't have any Grens, so clearly it is better for ports than other civs. Regardless, let's stop talking about that. Heavy cannons have arrived, and this is what he needs to handle the Abyss guns and Janissaries. Big shots coming out! And PrinceofKabul gonna feel very sorry that he walked in there. But he's got to do something, right? But his eco's looking okay. Maybe he is okay to just...
Oh no, did that frigate go up on... He sent a frigate, is that on the other side of the map? It is, isn't it?
Oh...
That's,
Oh,
I don't
crap.
know if that... I feel like that wasn't intended. I feel like he would have wanted that to go up on the other side. So.
That cannot be intentional. What's that doing there? Absolutely nothing. But he does kill some villages, right? Whilst we were talking about that on that coin mine. Let's take a look at units lost. 16 villages have gone down for Wicked Cossack, and 8 boats as well. That's a lot more than I realized, actually. Cossacks lost a considerable number of villages this game, and these villages here, they have now got...
How did he lose so many fishing boats?
I don't know, maybe the Abyss guns or something. Perhaps he deleted them now fish are gone, and he just wants to be on...
yeah, that might be part of it. Well, then again, I'm not sure. I have no idea, actually. That's kind of weird. I don't think he had a dock up on the other side. I think it would have said that he'd lost a dock. But
I mean, my point being that actually he's not doing too badly. He's got 3 TCs, although this one going to go down, and the stagecoach. So that eco looks, a lot better than it actually is on this graph for blue, since the stagecoach isn't factored in.
He's got calls out for these heavy cannons.
Yeah, he does. And they're successful. 3 calls take down the one there, and... But Wicked Cossack, good reactions. He wants to get out of there the second, but the Abyss gun's going to be able to finish it off. Does get a final volley in before going down, but with the heavy cannons handled, and PrinceofKabul saves his TC and has, what we're saying, this reasonable eco behind this, given that his opponent is on mills with only 1 upgrade, Sea Drill. Although he does have eco theory going, I suppose that is quite strong. But this is looking pretty good for Prince. The scores are quite even.
Especially with the advanced star still in there and everything on both the Janissaries and the Abyss guns.
Yeah, look at it. He's got all the stuff.
Well, yeah, this is actually a really scary army from him.
Although the frigate did go into the wrong ocean, had that gone into the correct one, he would be in a really, really nice spot.
That would have been huge. That would have been huge, yeah. Unfortunately for him, that is 1,000 resources. That's not going to be doing too much, although it does at least prevent Wicked Cossack from moving onto that side of the water in the future. But for the time being, yeah, it's not really doing too much. But anyway, Prince pushing on the front side of the base here. He has a lot of Abyss guns, so these castors aren't going to be able to trade super well. There's not, he sort of, doesn't have enough Dragoons, it feels like. Dragoons are kind of, what makes Portuguese work in this matchup against the Abyss guns. With that Genitours upgrade in the fourth age, it's sort of the reason why this matchup is considered
coming
not
forward
so great
with
for
Hussars,
Ottoman
though.
later in the game. But yeah, it is looking really good for Prince now.
But up against Janissaries with, flintlock, paper cartridges, and military drummers. They're pretty good at defending the Abbas guns now, which also benefit from those same upgrades. Really, really strong. But there's not a lot of siege here. Right, 3 Culverins are pretty rubbish at sieging. And Big Monitor does come out. Special ability being used. Bam! Headshot. Takes down quite a lot of damage on those Culverins. But not going to kill them in one blast. But a lot of HP now missing. And they're going to get on out of there. They're going to... Looks like there is a raid going on the top. Cossack being very diligent with his hussars.
Yeah, and that's definitely one of the big weaknesses of Ottomans at this stage in the game. As their army is really immobile. It doesn't really have a way to defend these villagers. So they're going to be forced to walk all the way back to the town center. And these Hussars can just stay on the map here and deny this hunting gold mine.
Yeah.
And Prince, unless he sends some Janissaries up there, is going to have a really hard time dealing.
Yeah, it'd be nice. He could add in walls as well in these chokes. That would certainly help out a lot in stopping these raids. There's still quite a lot of hunt on his side. I imagine that is something he'll start wanting to do. But the benefit of the Culverin here, it is rubbish at sieging, but it does have considerable range. And completely... No, it does not. The fort has 40 range. Wow, I didn't realize that... I thought the Culverins outranged the fort.
I think one of the upgrades...
Oh, no, it does outrange the fort. Sorry, I'm looking at anti-ship attack. It's the 26 there.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, the Culverins, they do outrange the fort. I was right all along. But the fort's still really strong here.
But the petards...
Oh yeah, three petards coming in, and with military drummers as well. Not that it's super relevant, but they are a bit quicker.
So
and that fort does take a lot of damage there. Wicked Cossack, he now might not be able to keep that fort alive. He is bringing his army in though, because he knows it's low and he has to fight here if he has a chance to get the repair. But a good Dragoon mess.
So many units. I mean, the Janissaries, though, I mean, with the Advanced Arsenal are so strong in Jan combat. I mean, it looks like all of the Hussars are going to get cleaned up slowly, but, I mean, that looked like a decent trade for Wicked Cossack, all things considered.
Looks absolutely fine.
Yeah, I mean, he doesn't have any guard upgrades in, although he did have, I think he might have had guard Huss, but he is going to clean up the army, and he's got both factories in behind this. He's going to have another shipment on the way now. It's probably going to be that Genitours upgrade for those Dragoons, and suddenly things are looking really good for Wicked Cossack. That army kind of came out of nowhere.
Mamelukes.
Mamelukes, though.
Mamelukes, yeah, very, very strong. Certainly against the Castors here, but looks like there's
enough units supporting them, though, yeah.
Yeah, there's enough Hussar, and there's a couple of Dragoons which are just preoccupied finishing off those final units there to handle the Mamelukes. It was looking pretty dicey for Cossack, and had this boat appeared in his side of the water, I think it really would have been pretty good for Prince of Kabul, but that late-game Portuguese eco starting to kick in now with the 2 factories, and he's fully transitioned to mills with artificial fertilizer research and, of course, eco-theory from the very beginning of the game. I think he managed to get to that point in the late game, and Mamelukes of his own coming out behind this. That is a Fortress Age shipment. I guess he's sent everything except Genitours, just doesn't have a big enough goon mass to warrant sending Genitours yet, so instead goes for a Fortress Age card, and makes absolutely a lot of sense, right?
Yep, and looks like those mams are probably going to be enough to win him the game. I mean, he's going to clean up all the Abyss guns here. And then there's just nothing to defend the villagers on the map. These Hussars and Mamelukes can just run around the map and cause havoc, while Wicked Cossack behind it remasses his army. And yeah, it's looking really tough for Prince. And now this is the stage, and this is why Ottomans are not good in the late game. They're just really immobile. Their units are really just weak to cavalry armies. And he's going to have a really hard time clawing his way back.
Yeah. I don't know if he can do it now, especially with these constant raids as well. He's got 3 TCs and a stagecoach, but like as you say, like it's just the units. Mind you, they do have the upgrades, but Portuguese behind this, he's got almost double the economy now, and with all the upgrades in on the mills, they're not too bad anymore. But Spahi do come out, and there are quite a number of Janissaries there.
Do those Janissaries have socket bayonet? Do they have upgrade on them by any chance?
They do not.
There might not be space on the UI to show that.
Oh, maybe they do. It's It's hard to know. Socket bayonet gives
is it
extra.
only 2 times? Is it only 2 times?
Yeah,
right
it's
there?
times
I can't
2.
read it.
It's times 2.
Then they don't have it. It would be actually insane if they had it though right now. He
Yeah,
does
they'd
have
be
the arsenal up. He could get it, but yeah, I mean, actually, Despahi actually managing to save him sort of that fight there. But again, I mean, I don't know that it's going to matter. I mean, he's sort of held off for the time being, and he's got more Jans coming,
And
which is going to be
combat.
good because Wicked Cossack is pretty much only making hand cavalry at the moment. But the Portuguese economy is just so much stronger at this point. It feels like that. I don't know exactly how much longer Ottomans has to sort of hold on here.
Yeah, even a plantation coming down. Not that they're as necessary, given you have the coin. He's not got his upgrade in for these factories, so it's not quite as strong. Maybe he was gathering something else like wood, I don't know, just to get this plantation and all of these things up. But, oh, and he does have coin down here. Anyway, he's quite far ahead on eco, is what we're saying. And now, those late-game upgrades coming in. Dragoon combat, which is also cav combat at the same time. It's just a strictly better cav combat. And behind this, Genitors will be coming as the next shipment as well, to make those Dragoons have even more range and attack. They'll be very, very strong. But some villagers going down, but the Monitor is nearby, and this has a lot more HP than a fishing boat, so they will be fine to be garrisoned.
Yeah, though, I've got to say, I'm surprised that Prince is actually holding on here as well as he is. He's done a good job. The problem is going to be whether or not he can get to Industrial himself. If he does get to Industrial himself, and he does get his own factories in, maybe there's a chance that he could win. But Wicked Cossack going to be taking a fight here, maybe? No.
Lots of walking Jans.
Out of there as the Janissaries going.
And combat Jans, every single one of them, still marching across the map here. And Cossack just like, nah, I'm just gonna kite you all day long, right back to the coast here, and supporting fire. Where is it gone? The Monitor is nearby. But this fight, it looks, all the Jans, not many left. There are a lot of Abbas. Okay, and more Jans coming in. This is still looking okay for Prince of Kabul, but he just does not scale as nearly as well as his opponent does. 600 coin coming in for Prince of Kabul.
The longer this game goes, the higher the chances that Wicked Cossack reaches that point where his army eventually becomes unkillable, where he can get that Jeanette Dragoon upgrade, which he hasn't got, I guess, just because it's so much more expensive than the Guard Huss and the Guard Castor upgrades. But once he does get that, and I mean, Genitors has to be his next card, right? Unless it's an eco shipment, maybe. But once he does get that, I feel like there's just not much that Ottomans can do. There it is. There's the upgrade. And now he just has to somehow... He has the resources available for it. He could actually get Jeanette Dragoons now. And those 18 ranged Dragoons are just going to be such a pain for Prince to deal with.
Yeah. I think coin is the only issue Wicked Cossack's running into. Constantly trying to get villagers on that mine. Just the one plantation and these factories. Fusiliers in queue, yeah, for Wicked Cossack. Okay. So maybe coin's not so much an issue. He's just spending it all on mercenaries. Fusilier, a really strong Musk-style unit. That seems... What do you think?
That seems really weird to me at this point, to be honest.
Yeah, they're not very cost-effective, right?
Prince is aging behind this as well. Oh. So he has managed to survive. Maybe they're just for raids. They're actually really annoying as raiders.
Oh, yeah, they're quite fast. Look at this, though. I didn't notice that a couple of docks went down for Ottoman. He's starting to fish on his side. And with the frigate in there, it's quite safe to do that. But Cossacks now scouted that. But that does mean Ottoman can catch up. And remember, his vills are completely free. So this 84 population, given that he's not having to train the villagers, maybe it is okay. And he's got stagecoach. And he's aging. And he's nearly got a shipment ready. And he'll have factories. And those Fusiliers are going to be handled. But that's a big army from Cossack coming out now.
Yeah. Do they have the Jeanette Dragoon upgrade in yet? I really want him to get that upgrade. No, not just yet, but it's almost in. There we go. So now these Dragoons are looking pretty scary. No ranged cavalry caracola yet, none of those arsenal upgrades, but I imagine that Wicked Cossack, now that his economy is mostly maxed, he'll be able to mix it in pretty soon. And he is going to clean up that town center as well, which is going to give him a lot more breathing room with his military here. And yeah, Prince, as you said, now up to the industrial age, does actually have access to those factories now, but he's sort of paid the price of this location on the map as a result of that age up.
Yeah. Fusilier coming into raid, but they will be handled by the frigate. I'm just reading what H2O has to say in the chat there. He's saying, in this situation as ports, I'd just go Imperial, but Fusiliers are cool too, I guess? So, there's Ryan's assessment of the situation. But this is a big army now, and as you said, Jeanette Dragoon in, now getting ranged cavalry Caracol, and Guard Castador with Town Watch coming in as well for slightly extra range. Line of sight. Guard units here. And yes. Oh, Guard Janissaries now in. Okay, so Prince of Kabul keeping up here, and a Foundry going down mid-map.
Yeah, but at this stage in the game, the Janissaries and the Abiskins as well, they're really starting to fall off. Like, Musketeers are not really the unit you want, like 30 minutes into a game, and Abiskins are really pop-in efficient. They're a little bit harder to mass as well. And, I mean, Prince is going to have to start switching to, like, plantations and stuff, which is going to make the Abiskins even harder to get. And, yeah, with Wicked Cossack just pushing in there with this big, massive Guard Castors and Dragoons, it's looking like this is probably going to finally be the end of the game with this army here. I mean, just look at the military population. He's way ahead now. And I don't know that I don't know that Prince can make enough units to come back at this point.
And raiding on all sides as well. Yeah. Especially when you're up against both your opponent, who has both units upgraded to Guard, and you've just got the one. I mean, Guard Abiskins aren't as nearly as expensive as they are on RE Patch, but it's kind of hard to get those upgraded in whilst your opponent's knocking on your door with a superior economy. But it is only after 33 minutes that the resignation comes in. Wicked Cossack. It took him a while, but he does get there in what could have been quite a close game, although there was a tipping point earlier. I wonder if the frigate had come into the correct sea, and if there was a fourth petard on that fort, this game could have been different. And earlier on as well, when those falconets were pushing in initially from Ottoman, if they'd not taken that first volley from the Dragoons, there was also another moment. There are a couple of things there Prince could have done differently, but still a very nice game to watch.
Yeah, the frigate was huge. If that had come in the other side of the pond, it was such a critical, if it had come in the other side of the ocean, I don't know what I'm saying. Anyway, you know what I mean. If it had come there and pressured Wicked Cossack's fills, it was such a critical point in the game where Wicked Cossack was aging. He was going to have to be sending heavy cannons and stuff like that. That frigate would have been able to clean up the entire side, unless Wicked Cossack sent a frigate himself or otherwise invested into some kind of warship, and then it just becomes much harder to get those units out to defend your heavy cannons and to defend your fort and your mills and everything. And then maybe it would have gone really well for Prince. That was a really unfortunate pop from him, for sure.
Yeah, some quite even fights, actually. Here we see a lot of Portuguese units going down versus the falconets. This is the fight next to the fort when the fort's being constructed. It was actually a lot more even than it looked. I thought Portuguese was taking quite a poor fight, but they had to defend their fort. The game goes on, a couple of fights in the middle. Nothing ever really too overwhelming for one player. But you can see at the end here, Cossack gets his guard upgrades in and really starts hammering home that advantage. All resources gathered. Portuguese, obviously, the clear winner over time. But remember, the villages were free for Ottoman, so a lot of that was not being reinvested like Portuguese. It's all over now. Who really cares about how that works? But that was game number 2. The score is 1-1, and this is shaping up to be quite an even series thus far. And the vetoes are not unusual, but often we see Baja California and, well, I suppose New England as well, but New England being vetoed. You know, interesting story, Mitoe.
Go on.
Wicked Cossack has not played on New England once this entire tournament, just because it's been vetoed so often.
Was it vetoed this time around too? Sorry?
Yes, it was.
Okay. Well,
yeah.
Unfortunate for him and us. Especially unfortunate for the viewers. New England games are always so much fun to watch.
Yeah. But I think the Civ rules for the LAN will will make New England appear a bit more often. So
Civ rules, map rules,
map rules, yeah, the map rules. It's going to involve. I won't explain it too much, but there's. At the moment, we're still discussing it. Nothing's finalized, but at the moment, it looks like there's going to be a pick and ban phase, where all 9 maps are involved. From the New World Championship map pool, there's 9 maps in it, but obviously for a best of 5, there can only be 5 maps. So there is a pick and ban phase where people veto and pick 2 maps each to get down to 5. But more on that later. But it does mean that New England, one of the players can put it in the map pool without their opponent being able to veto it. But we're looking now at British versus France. PrinceofKabul going to be playing the British. Looks like Cossack selected French. He had to pick first. Always a good civ going into Deccan. And a good civ when you're being counterpicked as well.
Yeah, this is a pretty close matchup as well. Both civs kind of have merits on this map. Obviously, Brit, as we know, with the early wood crates, just has so much freedom with getting that market and manors and potentially a trading post and Virginia Company and all that stuff that really just jumpstarts their boom very early. But France, they do get access to that native scout. They get a trading post themselves. They get the market up very easily. They can age very quickly. And they also can take the stagecoach very early if they want to. They have a little bit more freedom than some other civs to do that on this map. And that is one of the things that can help France keep up with something like a Virginia Company boom. And we'll see if that's what he has in mind, but he has done that before on this map with France, taking that stagecoach and trying to hold on to the map and being very aggressive like that.
Yeah. Before we get into this, I'm just looking at the hunts and mines. Well, the mines, you don't really need to be looking at hunts on Deccan. And I think everything is in order. So we will begin. Maybe Mitoe can also look, but with the screen share it might not be as blurry. I'll try and stay still then, so that you can have a look too.
It looks fine from what I can tell on this.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, spawning in the left-hand side of the map in the color blue, whilst Mitoe decides, we do have PrinceofKabul playing as the British here. Early market going down. And it looks like he's going to get his explorer out on the plateau to gather some yaks up. He's not going for a trading post just yet. Comes across a stray water buffalo treasure, which is not particularly interesting. But not going to be building that trading post that we are often seeing with British. Maybe he will not be bothering. Instead, would like to contest the yaks. But France, they will be doing that, as you would expect on Deccan with all of that wood. But the native scout is free to get out on the map. Maybe that's why British wants to be out here. Or maybe he just wants to build more manors. He's still gathering his gold. He's got his market. He can buy all the wood for manor houses. You do not have to go for a trading post. Perhaps he has no intention of doing Virginia Company or getting a trading post. All of these things.
Yeah, it looks like it is just going to be. It is just going to be those manors, and this basically, like you, as you said, you don't have to go for Virginia Company, and this is going to mean that he is going to age a little bit sooner, most likely, just because having an extra villager will help. I wonder if this means he could be thinking of doing something a little bit more aggressive, or if maybe he's just worried about WickedCossack being aggressive. But not having that trading post is going to make it easier for WickedCossack to take Stagecoach on either of these trading post lines. He's already got one on the top side there, so he only has to grab one more if he wants to get Stagecoach from that eventually. And Prince not having a trading post of his own is going to mean that Wicked's not going to have to worry about sieging that down or anything. So it's a trade-off, but I actually think I like it better for Wicked. Almost going for the crack shot there.
That was close. He was just about to finish the animation, but WickedCossack does pick up the wood treasure here. The betting has just appeared on my screen. It's been open for a while now, but obviously due to the 2-minute delay, it does not appear immediately. And WickedCossack sitting on 100% now, coming in 33 to 67%. We'll keep an eye on that when it closes at the end of that timer. I'm interested to see, because the score is 1-1, and that indicates that these players are quite evenly matched, and we could be seeing either of them at the LAN. But looks like Wicked now getting into position to drop down a second trading post, because he is now aging, has all the villagers on wood, switching a few over to food there. but will inevitably be saving for his steel traps, etc., etc. Britain got 3 manas in Age 1 and is now starting to chop, and we'll add in the next one's Gangsaw is in Q, which is pretty nice for him. Both players going up with different politicians. To be expected. No quartermaster for British, going up with the governor for 200 coin and an outpost, and Prince of Kabul obviously going with the 400 wood, as we would expect. But let's take a look at the Age 1.
Forward CDB?
That's right, forward CDB. So Cossack going to be placing a forward building by the looks of it. But Cossack, he has 6 yaks, and in terms of Age 1 treasures, not a lot of interesting treasures. Sometimes on Deccan that happens. There's either a bunch of rubbish, and the ones that do spawn are just really hard to get, like lions guarding food and stuff. But yeah, very, very eventful Age 1. But 40 coin and 50 wood to Wicked Cossack, so I would say he was the stronger Age 1. Let's see if he can keep that momentum up. He is now up to the Colonial Age. Forward barracks coming down. Here we go.
Yeah, that's an interesting barracks position, too, just because it's sort of on the other side of his stagecoach, and I guess it's just going to allow him to apply pressure to the south side, make sure that the military units aren't able to attack both the trading post and his forward base sort of at the same time or in quick succession. But it could mean that he's also thinking about getting the bottom stagecoach line as well and using that military building to defend that at some point. I imagine he won't go for that anytime soon, but maybe in a few minutes here he might start adding them in. Maybe depends a little bit on what Prince does. But yeah, for the moment, looking like just one barracks is going to go down. Just going to be using that for some musketeers. Might just be a musketeer semi coming out of Wicked, which is definitely something that can work against British.
He's not got his steel traps yet. Cossack's done this in a few games. He just sort of ignores steel traps. Maybe he'll get it off his 700 wood. But either way, coming in now with musketeers, that's the important thing. But Prince of Kabul, the outpost, scouts it here, and we'll pull those villagers off. They'll be fine. And those villagers next to his TC will be fine as well. Cossack not wanting to get too close with 5 musks to the TC there. Just going to be looking around, not really looking to commit to anything, but will be poking nonetheless. Meanwhile, Prince of Kabul with a barracks in base, but a bit further off to the left, which would normally be risky, but given that the red barracks is quite far away from it, and the red pressure will be coming in from the south, maybe this is okay. Some pikemen will be attacking the stagecoach, and it is a stagecoach, so Wicked Cossack is invested in this. Looks like it's going to go down, and he's having to send musketeers off to defend it, but it's going to go down before he can get there. And the Explorer, but 700 wood is now in, so with that wood and the coin as well, he can rebuild the stagecoach. But this is quite annoying, and it's alleviating a lot of damage, because these musketeers are being forced onto the other side of the map here.
Yeah.
He's going to get the snare.
Snare that.
Yep. Catches the snare. And see if the musks can catch off, but does drop a pike off, and is going to get away.
Interestingly, it doesn't seem like Wicked Cossack wanted to age with that 700 coin that he sent second. He's just continued training more units. It's a bit hard for me to tell just because of the blurry screen share, but it looks like he might be saving to age now that he's got some more musketeers out and that 700 wood's come in and he's defended that trading post. He might be feeling okay to age. So these musketeers coming in, getting sandwiched a little bit, but Wicked has more musketeers behind this. They're a little bit further away, but he's going to be able to fight this just fine.
Yeah. This is a fine fight, and now Prince of Kabul sees the extra musks and wants to get out of there. Fairly even. Let's switch to units lost. 2 musks each and a pike, so fairly inconsequential, but Prince is snared, and that's really big. That Explorer coming in strong, dropping off 3. It looks like he's dropped off 2, but it was this one, and that's really big. Picks up quite a few musketeers there off the back
and he's
of the
aging
Explorer
behind
snare.
this.
And Cossack, up to the Fortress Age now with the exiled prince. And he did get his steel traps, but no placer mines, but he did get his steel traps. There it is, placer mines.
Yeah, so this is looking really good for him with having held on to both those trading posts, well, rebuilt one. But having both those trading posts now, getting a good trade with those units, and aging behind this, that's going to give him a lot of tempo in early Fortress here, where he can potentially abuse an early Falconet shipment to really hurt that slow age up that Prince will have to go for himself, as the British don't have access to that exiled Prince politician. Unless Prince decides to stay colonial, which he might feel he has to if he wants to hold, just because it is going to be that much faster.
Yeah. Stable down. Looks like going to be staying with Skirmisher and Cuirassier, but Britain is going to take down the trading post for a second time. And maybe that's why Wicked Cossack trained so many Musks in Age 2, just to deal with Britain trying to be annoying with his teepee. He got a good trade with his extra units, which was nice, but he is going to lose it again. But it looks like he's got enough units. Let's go over to military units here. There's a lot more blue ones, so Red going to have to back off there. And does kill the Explorer. That's really big, because now Prince can't add in that trading post until it gets back to 100 HP, which will give him time to get his Skirmishers, which have now arrived, and his Cuirassiers, which are in training, over to this, well, not over to there, but either way, they're going to be able to deny a TP going up, and looks like Wicked Cossack will be fine.
Yeah, that's a lot of Musketeers from Prince, though. He's definitely not going to be aging just yet. Just wants to have enough units that Wicked Cossack isn't going to be able to push in, but being
the pull
a little bit caught. And Musketeer attack coming in as well behind this, so Prince is fully committed, pushing in here, trying to whittle down the skirmisher count before it gets out of control, but isn't going to be able to chase that too far.
A couple of pikes coming in to be annoying, but ultimately I don't think they will get too much done. They are sieging the house. The CDB probably have enough stats to handle that. Back to the main event, though. 3 Cuirassiers coming in behind this. And 13 skirmishers here, but 5 Hussar now coming out. And that's a lot of Musks. They're closing the gap. The Explorer does go into snare a little bit. Slows them a little bit. Gives the skirms a bit more distance to kite with. But being mixed in with Musks is a little bit awkward. These Hussars could be threatening, but does have enough Musketeers and certainly some cav. And those 3 Cuirassiers now coming as well. Looks like he'll be okay, but is having to send his Musks forward. It's a big British mass, and with the 15% attack upgrade, this is looking okay for him. Wicked Cossack and hit points coming in behind it.
Yeah, there's a shipment on the way for Wicked, but he just sent it, so it's going to be 30 seconds away. He does have access to Minutemen, though, so Prince might not want to push in too. And I think this could go really well for Wicked with the batch of Dragoons coming behind this. He still has a lot of cures if they go up to snare, but looks like he isn't actually going to go for that, just going to let the army walk away. Although, no, maybe he does actually intend to chase it, just didn't move immediately. He does have the better army composition, so if he micros well, he could take out this whole army potentially, despite the fact that those are basically veteran Musketeers with those 2 cards in.
5 goons.
And yeah, Prince not feeling super comfortable with that fight. He feels he doesn't have enough Hussars maybe to really take that. And he's going to be backing out of there for the time being. But as we already mentioned, Prince is not going to be able to age up himself, so he is trapped in the colonial age, which means he is reliant on getting a really good trade with this.
There's so many Musks. And he's closed the gap, and that's the Musketeers have both the upgrades in there now, really close. This is absolutely where they want to be. Musks in range of skirms are actually okay. And there are a couple of Hussars keeping them nearby. All the Cuirassiers have gone down now, trying to get rid of those Hussars so he can escape. And this is exceptional for Prince of Kabul. Look at that, all the skirms being caught up, and now in the grasps of the Musketeers, going into using their melee attack. It's no good. Gonna clean all of that up. What a great trade for the blue player.
Yeah, that's exactly what he needs to keep. Obviously, there's still not a big good answer to Dragoons, as they are a lot more mobile, and they will sort of keep Wicked Cossack safe for the time being, but it is going to allow Prince to maybe start feeling a little bit more comfortable about maybe aging or something like that. Definitely comfortable enough to move up to the top side and clean up these trading posts and sort of get that economic lead back strongly in his favor, potentially even pick up these trading posts for himself. I imagine he will do that with that Explorer that he just revived. However, all the units up here, that is going to leave some of the villagers exposed on the south side as Dragoons move in, trying to pick off some Vills, maybe some reinforcements as well. 2 Falcons are out, so the Falcons could definitely give Wicked Cossack a way to compensate for having lost that army. But
And look at
some Musketeers getting caught.
Prince of Kabul gearing up for the long colonial age here. Musk attack and hit points, as well as... Does he even have... Yes, he's got Hussars, as well as Huss attack and hit points, and this will affect the Dragoons later on, as well if British gets to the next age. So, very, very powerful colonial age units here. Obviously, Skirm Goon is better than Musk Huss, but when they have all these upgrades stacked on them, they're going to be able to keep up. And no skirmishes here to really punish the Musks. As you said, he does have his Falks, which are coming across the map. I like this from Cossack, adding in walls.
This is a really nice wall.
Yeah. Nope. 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 Get behind the wall. But does set them up. The wall's not done yet, and I don't think the villager can finish the wall.
Oh, this is really awkward.
But he is using cannons on infantry.
It does set up a choke point for him at least. So I mean, not having the wall finished kind of baits Prince into taking this fight actually. And even though he is going to lose the Falks, that's a really nice cleanup for Wicked Cossack. Although with more Musketeers coming in from the back, he is actually going to be forced to retreat. And, Prince still going to be looking okay at the end of it, but I mean, he killed like 30 Musketeers and like, I don't know, 6 or 7 Hussars there, right? So it's not a terrible trade for him.
Let's look at the 60 Musks have been killed this game. Wicked has lost 15 as well as 21 skirms. So maybe that's even-ish in cost, but also 14 goons and 7 cuirassiers. France has lost a lot more this game, and that's showing on the score. But he is Fortress Age. But he does have a weaker economy, and now with Prince of Kabul, you know, all these upgrades in on his units, pushing on the stagecoach. If he loses the stagecoach as well, France is really not looking so good for economy.
Yeah, definitely not. And, I mean, Prince has already picked up one trading post for himself, and he will be picking up a second one here as well, as I imagine. And once that's it, that's going to be a really sizable lead for him. However, again, still not quite able to age, so he is still stuck with this Musk-Huss composition. Although Advanced Arsenal coming in, that's actually going to make these units, like, basically veteran, or better than veteran.
Yeah. Paper cartridges and flintlock. And even a speed upgrade too, which you can't get from veteran units.
Does Prince just not have military shipments in his deck? How does he have so many upgrades?
Yeah, it's just nothing but he's got 6 musketeers in there. And I guess it being Deccan decided to cut 700 food. That's fair enough, actually. And instead just put all of the upgrades in. This chap's got more upgrades than a team deck.
Yeah, it's definitely what's keeping him in the game here, despite being in the colonial age. And yeah, now at this point, like, that army mass is just really scary. There's more Falconets out, though, for Wicked Cossack. He's decided that they're going to do him more good than skirmishers.
No, they're gonna
it's a
get
hard
back.
position for Prince to push into.
Yeah, it's true. You can't get all your mucks down this weird little line and here. Okay, that's fair. But military drummers coming in, that's a really strong upgrade when you're dealing against Fortress Age units, because skirms, they can just kite you, but with the extra speed, you can sort of counter that a bit. And now getting paper cartridges as well.
It's a really nice upgrade here, for sure.
British looking really strong at the moment, both those TPs with the stagecoach, and about 20 villagers up in terms of recalculated, but he does have to deal with 4 falconets here. And,
yeah, but Wicked has to make something happen. Like, 700 coins coming in, so he's aging behind this, but the fight being forced, there's a 4th falconet mixed in here as well. So, all the hussars are down, I think. He's focusing down the artillery, but I think this is going to go the way of Wicked Cossack, although just barely.
Yeah, does clean that all up. Focusing the 75% range resist cannons is one way to lose your units there, but he recognizes that he does have to handle them, and maybe that was the best time before more units come out.
Yeah, though, like, Prince really wanted to age behind this. He had the resources to do so. He had that 700 coin in, he had the 1200 food ready, and then he just lost that whole army, and now he's felt like he has to just continue playing in Colonial, because otherwise he could just get pushed while he's aging and just die. But that's going to mean that potentially more artillery from Wicked Cossack could be really, really difficult to deal with. And a second town center going down as well is going to sort of help him catch up in economy. He's going to be able to start pushing onto these trading posts, which is going to help him catch up as well. But, I mean, he's got some villagers of his own exposed on the bottom here. Some Hussars going to come in on the CDBs on the south side of the map here and going to potentially start cleaning some stuff up. All of the Dragoons, of course, on the top side, going to
reclaim the trade route. That's what they want to do, but they're away from home and the villages are going to be undefended. That fight went really well, I think, partly because cavalry combat was in. We forgot to mention that. So the Dragoons were just doing a lot of extra damage there. But yeah, off the back of that victory, he wants to reclaim his trade route and wants to put down a TC as well. Some villagers going to be killed. Not ideal for Cossack. Really getting behind in eco, hoping to catch up now that he can have one of the TPs back in a second trading post, town center. But the British eco has bounced back.
Falcons in queue, though.
Yeah, it looks like he's got 4 more falconets. Turns out Falcons are really good against musketeers. So
who would have thought?
Yeah, and supporting skirmisher fire as well in the back.
Though these musketeers are insane, though, with the advanced arsenal and both the cards. They're basically like
upgrade.
They're basically like veteran sepoy. That's what these muskets are.
Nice. The SKG will be proud. Somehow trying to train sepoy as the British.
That is, that's something that Prince's clan is known for. But this army, looking really, really hard for Prince to deal with, actually, with these armies. It's definitely not cost-effective for him to try and fight these falconets. So even though he does have a better economy, and he does have, pretty strong units, it's just that tech advantage, the unit composition advantage for Wicked Cossack is giving him enough value to keep him in this game.
Yeah. Cannon's really, really strong, it turns out. But, skirms, they're moving a bit far forward, and the cannons, they're a bit far away! But it might be okay, the Dragoons have a lot of speed, and it's not like the Musks can close the gap too quick, but trying to get into hand combat there...
seems a little bit awkward, though. A lot of goons going down, and the musket's just going to go straight into melee combat here. This could be okay for Prince, actually.
Yep. He closed the gap, and that's what cannons are weak against, melee combat. The Hussars are on top as well, and all the Dragoons do go down, but a big volley at the end there. I think it was okay. He's handled another batch of really expensive falconets, and he's still...
And he's aging behind this.
Yeah, and has another 10 villages since we last checked. And a second TP now on the bottom, although that's not stagecoach. The more important thing, yes, as you are saying, is he is now aging up with the adventurer for 7 longbows. And when he gets up, France loses all the advantage that they have by being in the Fortress Age, because his opponent can get access to Dragoons, he can get the veteran musket upgrade, and indeed, he has a shipment ready. He can send falconets as well, although at that point, I wonder if you just ship Cav, because you've got both the Cav upgrades. Would they be better? Maybe. But anyway, he's going to be in the Fortress Age. And Kabul taking aggressive map control with forward outposts.
Yeah, and he's building these trading posts on the south side as well. Like, he knows he's ahead in economy. He knows he just killed 4 falconets and a bunch of dragoons, and he's going to completely secure that lead with those 3 trading posts. And I mean, there's more falconets out for Wicked Cossack, but he just can't make enough units to defend them anymore at this point. And things are starting to look really good for British. Get another raid, cleaning up a lot of CDBs on the top side here. Potentially going to move up to the CDBs on the northern side as well as soon as that goes down. Nope, not going to go there. A little bit afraid of the dragoons coming in. But this wall not going to go up either.
No, a little bit of a hole there, and both those villagers being executed by a firing squad. He is going to finish it now, and does have these cannons behind the wall. But Prince, almost 2 shipments available, and will be up very, very shortly. I wonder if he'll spawn his longbows at this forward outpost. Eagle Muck coming in with the subscription for 4 months total. He says, can we get some hype for Wicked Cossack? Let's see those PogChamps flowing. Stagecoach now in. And this British economy is insane.
Yeah, it's really, really strong for sure. With Stagecoach coming in on the south side as well, it's just going to be even more. I mean, he's only got 2 trading posts down there at the moment, but it's still like another like 7 or 8 villagers worth of resources coming in over time. And yeah, with those veteran upgrades coming in now and a shipment on the way, I think Wicked Cossack is in a little bit of trouble.
And Falconet's more in queue for Wicked Cossack, but he's lost his Fortress Age advantage. The veteran Musks and the veteran Hussars are in. Cavalry Cuirass as well. All 3 cav upgrades. Once this upgrades hits, these are so... That is a Husketeer? Well, that would be a unit, wouldn't it? A Musketeer.
That'd be a pretty good unit.
With riding a horse with a sword. But yes, these are strong cavalry. We've seen crazy things from Cossack, though, versus Reese on this map, where the game, it looked like... But I don't know if we'll see a repeat from that.
If he can drag it out to late game, maybe there's a chance. France is one of the strongest civs in the late game for sure, and he's setting up walls to sort of enable him to do that. But I don't know if it's going to be enough. There's no culverins or anything coming from Prince, so he's just intending to brute force this for sure. Look at that, picking up both native trading posts as well. What upgrades do they have there?
Today we have the Udasi, which are a bit rubbish. It's basically eco-theory, so maybe at this point, or in 5-10 minutes time, it'll be good, and then the Chakram upgrades, who cares about those? Goons coming forward, but gonna get back behind that. Longbows mixed in, they're veteran as well. The other is the Bhakti. We do have veganism in here, or vegetarianism, but he's already eaten all the berries. That would have been nice to get a bit sooner. But no goat upgrades that you were probably looking for.
Yeah, no Sufi this time around. Sometimes you do get the Sufi on this map, though. I mean, there's a couple of useful upgrades in there, but nothing super impactful. But he's going up to Industrial, actually.
Oh, wow. That's how I imagined the British to be played when I first got the game and started playing as British. That's how I'd play a super long colonial, go up to Fortress, and then right behind it go up to Industrial. And that is what he's doing here. Going up with the Tycoon for 1,000 gold. And then he'll get his guard upgrades, and there'll be no way he can lose.
I mean, he sees all these walls going up, right? I wonder if these trading posts are more just to secure like a trade monopoly or something, so that he can force Wicked Cossack to leave the bay.
That's interesting. Actually seeing... Yeah, because I think, like, PrinceofKabul, the thing he's scared of most, especially when I watched this series versus Azamk, and just this tournament generally, is he does well, and then he says, I'm not going to attack you yet, Az, and I'm not going to push in until I know I'm absolutely certain that I won't F it up. So maybe that's what he's just doing. Go Industrial, no need to push, just... Never take silly risks. And all but aim long, just... Getting these upgrades. Yoga coming in as well for 5% hit points on all units.
Yep,
but he is now up to the Industrial Age.
He's not built that last trading post just yet.
This one?
The top one. The top native post. He might be building it now, I'm not sure.
Right. There he is in the corner there.
Okay, yeah, he started it now. But, I mean, that one's not super useful until you have bills anyway. But, yeah, Wicked Cossack, seeing the age up, realizes he's on a little bit of a clock here, going to be trying to do a little bit of damage with these Falconets, even if it's only killing a worthless native trading post that has already got the upgrades in.
But he is saving to age behind this. Cossack's got... He's on trajectory for an age up. Let's take a look at units in queue. No military, so I think he is intending to age up. But
I mean, yeah, there's no way he'd be able to fight this in Fortress. Like, he knows how many upgrades are on those units. He knows there's going to be more upgrades coming, so he does have to age, but that is going to give Prince a big window here with these guard upgrades and these culverins out to just push right into the base. I mean, more walls going down, but they're not going to go up. And I mean, he does have 2 layers of walls, but they're only 1,500 HP each. It's not going to buy him a lot of time.
Yeah, a couple of vills going to go down. Lost a Falconet there. And this is now go time for Prince. Up another 10 vills since we last checked. And now has Redcoat Musketeer and Lifeguard... No, does not have Lifeguard Hussars yet, but...
Another
Socket
10
bayonet
center
coming
coming
in.
down for Prince as well behind this.
And Circular Saw now getting his plantation upgrades, homesteading coming in. More villages going down. Prince is ready. This is now the time to do it. And this is a pretty bad time for Cossack to be taking pressure, but he had to try. He needs to get up to industrial himself to keep up with these units. But this is looking difficult.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be tough to defend. He has culverins of his own in queue. If he does get them out and he can defend them, maybe he can use his falconets to sort of leverage some kind of victory here. What is he aging with? Is he aging with falconets as well? That could be a lot of artillery that...
He is.
So the engineer, yeah, okay. So he is going to have 5 falconets once he ages up. If he can kill the culverins with his own, he could be in an okay spot. He gets 1. The other one is going to be a little bit harder to kill. It's going to be maybe an even trade. Yeah, it looks like he is actually going to kill it, despite the Culverin Royale upgrade. No, the Culverin Royale upgrade is just enough to save it, with a few hit points there.
Yeah, 4 HP. That's going to be awkward. It's still
Although
alive.
it's kind of walking in range of the Falconets. 2 more Falcons popping out. There's a lot of Hussars here. Those Hussars are insanely strong.
Yeah.
I think there's just not enough here to defend the Falconets, and the Musks and the Hussars just gonna get right on top of the army. GG is gonna get called for Wicked Cossack, and PrinceofKabul is gonna be up 2-1 in this.
Yeah, taking his second... Yeah, that's right. Second victory. That was another very interesting game. Hot damn, there were so many upgrades to that game. And it looked like PrinceofKabul was sort of in control most of the game, but there were some moments that were quite exciting. That trade up in the top here with the Musketeers early on. And then denying the Explorer to build this TP after it was destroyed. That really big cannon fight where Prince traded off all his army to kill the Falconets that he needed to handle because he wanted to age and couldn't have them knocking on his door, destroying his stuff. But it looked like he lost all his units there, but British economy, very strong, bounced back. Gets to the industrial age, gets all his upgrades in. Very, very safe, and then comes in when there are no more upgrades to be had to finish out the game here. Cossack trying to make lots of artillery, that seems to work, but at some point the muskets get so many upgrades, and your falconets don't get any stronger. But that was a really fun game to watch. Let's take a look at the military unit population. This was that fight where he lost all his musks.
It was relatively even, though, and just until he lost 4 falconets in the middle of the map there, along with a lot of dragoons, and that was when Prince felt that he was finally safe to age up himself, and he could start getting some of those cheaper upgrades, like the veteran upgrades and stuff like that, not relying on these H2 shipments and these H2 units, and that was really where the game flipped on its head. Wicked Cossack just out of position with his dragoons, wasn't really able to take the best of fights, and when you don't take the best of fights and you're behind an enemy, then things don't go well.
No, that is right. But this is still a very even series. The last time we saw Wicked Cossack play, it started out exactly like this. A victory from his opponent, followed by a victory from him, followed by a victory from his opponent that we can see there. That is what's happening. If Wicked Cossack can pick up a win here, we'll be keeping that very even theme. The score is 2-1. Early days in this best of 7. Let's take a look at my face. Hello, everybody. And I thought we were going into the lobby there, but we will in a moment. Here we are. Welcome. Let's see what civilizations come out. The map is Thar Desert, and it could well be time for India to come out. Although, I've heard Wicked Cossack say he's fine with this matchup, India versus Aztec. So yeah, he's just going to take it. Others think this is more Aztec-favored. Cossack will have to get up very, very quickly to the colonial age. Aztec can be quite fast and hard to deal with, and the last time we saw him play this matchup, it did not go his way on Florida. But this is Thar Desert.
I've always found it funny how controversial this matchup is.
Yes.
It seems like we've been seeing it a lot this tournament,
Yes.
and Prince is one of those who thinks it's good for Aztec, and as you already mentioned, Wicked is one of those who thinks it's good for India. So I believe Prince, in one of the earlier rounds, I think he played against Yumiu, he did manage to win this matchup, and as you mentioned already, Wicked Cossack actually lost this matchup to Risi. So I'm just going to have to favor Prince very slightly, even though I do think the matchup's good for India. It feels like Prince is maybe a little bit more comfortable in this matchup than Wicked is.
All right. So that could be good for Prince. But then again, remember, this is Wicked Cossack's, I keep saying it's secret weapon. This is his strong civ. This is something he's very skilled with. And
yeah, that's very true.
Even if you lose with it, he'll still have access.
He could have learned from his mistakes in that previous game. Maybe he'll have a much cleaner defense this time around. We'll have to wait and see.
Yeah. And I've seen quite a lot of quite impressive base defenses from Wicked Cossack, particularly on this map. A few times, actually. I think there was the game I casted with I Am Soldier. I'm pretty sure that was your series.
We don't need to talk about that game.
But there was a really cool gate that he built. And the skirms hopped through the gate, and just all the buildings are in the right place. So I think Wicked Cossack's quite adept at that defensive, in-base defending style. Although it is harder on Thar Desert, because the hunts run out quite quickly.
Yeah, though of course India isn't...
They don't need as many hunts.
Yeah, they don't have to spend food on villagers, which saves them a lot of food when, usually hunts run out around, well, on this map it's around 8 or 9 minutes. When if you've trained like 20 or 25 vills at that point, that's like 2,000 or 2,500 food that India will just have extra over other civs, so we can stay in base quite a bit longer.
I'm interested to see how quickly Cossack decides to get up. You have to be very fast versus Aztec, and I know Cossack's not really one who cares about his age up times too much. Advanced Wonders comes to mind. And I was on Discord with him the other day, and he was showing me and sort of coaching me how to play India, and he was just like, I don't really know when I go up, I just sort of feel like it. But it is kind of important in this matchup, so I wonder what will happen with that. Let's get into the game and find out. Ladies and gentlemen, this is game number 4. Yes, I had to count all of the flags there, you see. In a best-of-7 series between PrinceofKabul and Wicked Cossack. The winner of this game, well, not game, the winner of this series will qualify for the LAN. The loser will be eliminated. The matchup will be India versus Aztec on Thar Desert. Let's start with Wicked Cossack playing as the Indians in the color red in the top of the map here. Just a 1 food and 1 coin crate start there. So Aztec not going to be able to get all of that. I think this... What do you think of the crate start then? I think India usually wants extra food, right? Because they're quite slow to... They're one of the slower civs to get to the colonial age.
Yeah, they're definitely a lot worse with that gold crate. What is this villager micro? Oh my god. Wicked Cossack, not the most optimal vill splitting there, unfortunately for him, but he does figure it out. And at the end of the day, getting your vill queued a little bit late isn't really the end of the world as an Asian civ, as you don't really have to idle your town center once you're aging, so that's not actually a super big deal. But, I mean, even though it is a coin start, there are a lot of wood treasures on this map that can potentially help India compensate for that, and he does have 2 scouts, which allows him to find those a little bit easier, although Prince going to be spotting that wood treasure himself, and I think Wicked will not go for that just yet.
Yep.
And, I mean... never mind, that's not true. I was going to say the gold start can sometimes delay Aztec's war hut a little bit, but I think that it's ultimately not a big deal for them compared to India. So it's for sure a disadvantage for him, but I don't think it will be the end of the world as long as he is on top of his macro in the Age 1 here. And this food treasure is going to help him out a little bit. That Mongol rider is going to spot that, but the Explorer is too far away to really contest this, I think. He is going to head on over there, though. Maybe going to get a snare in while it's picking it up.
Yeah, you should be okay to get away here. But the Mongol Rider particularly annoying for India to deal with. There's no sort of crack shot, so to speak. So a little bit annoying there.
That ranged Treasure Guardian for War Chief Civs is very, very frustrating for India to deal with. And, they can just harass them all day. And if you do get the snare on the Indian monk, it's basically dead unless you can pull it away. But 90 Wood going to be going over to Prince of Kabul here. Wicked Cossack just going to be heading up to the other side of the map to try and get some scouting done on some other treasures. Yep. To compensate for the fact that he doesn't really want to stand around on the 85 wood the whole time, and he knows that he can scout a little bit more quickly, but I think Prince, anticipating that, isn't going to scout the bottom corner of the map, where I believe he hasn't quite checked yet, and is instead just going to head straight to the other side where he believes Wicked could be.
Yeah,
and might stumble across the 50 wood.
Yeah, he might be able to get there in time. It's now at half health here, but Cossack is about to find the 85 wood treasure. That's the other big treasure out on the map. And I think he'll be really wanting that, given that his opponent got the first big wood treasure. Giving them both to your opponent would feel really bad. He's going to get his 50 wood there, but the Lion, the Mongol Rider Scout, and the Aztec War Chief very nearby. But he is going to be able to get away. No snaring potential from Treasure Guardians. And that does lead him away from the treasure. So for the time being, Prince has not scouted that. 30 coin going to Wicked Cossack, but he is about to. It's up here, 85 wood. Cossack really doesn't want him going in that direction, because I think he's got a nature friendship ability, and he's going to start the treasure the second he finds it. His Lion very nearby will come down to help him. Looks like he's busy in base at the time being, switching things over as he's clicking the age up button and stuff, but now he's realized it's there, and he goes back for it.
Yeah, it looks like he is going to be able to pick that up pretty comfortably, actually. But Prince actually aged a little bit later himself. He was about 10 seconds or so late on that age up. So even though India's aging up quite late as well, quite a bit later than Aztec compared to the normal Indian age. That's a nice Agri Fort placement.
Right next to the TC. He's like, I'm not going anywhere. I want this to be...
Even though he's... Yeah, sorry. Just we'll go back to the Agri Fort placement in a moment. But before I forget, basically, the age up time was slower for both players than it would normally be on a different crate start, so it's not actually going to be super impactful here. The Agri Fort placement next to the town center is going to be making it easy to defend with the town center and the Minutemen, but it doesn't secure that gold mine on the front there, which could be a little bit awkward for him. I'm not even sure. I don't think, like, if you had Maze Sultan on one side of that gold mine, I'm not even sure that the Agri Fort can shoot there. But looks like Wicked Cossack going to be throwing down a wall. We've seen him use lots of walls in this series so far, and that's going to be maybe making it a little bit easier to defend, give his Gurkha a little bit of a pocket to sit behind and shoot at the Aztec units. But it is going to delay. He's going to get out a few less units probably as a result of building this wall.
Yeah. Wicked Cossack, a fan of the pillars. He's one of the only top players I know that doesn't delete them.
Maybe he just doesn't feel he doesn't feel the APM is worth it, maybe.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, sometimes units can, like, get through the gaps, but you can't command them to go through. They sort of have to bug through them and decide themselves to go through.
If you build the wall correctly, there shouldn't really be any holes after you delete the pillars. But
either way,
maybe he just doesn't feel. Maybe he's not comfortable enough with that mechanic to risk having the hole in the wall. But either way, it is what it is. It is going to be a little bit more expensive, but it's still going to protect his base. It's still going to serve the same function.
I assume this affects Coyote runners. It must do, because there are no cavalry for Aztec, and it would be a pretty redundant treasure. It must affect them. That has to be the case. Let's switch on over to shipments sent. 3 warrior priests that you mentioned was the opening here. A market now coming down, and with the 700 wood, should be able to get those upgrades quite nicely. But this is not an aggressive strat from Prince of Kabul. Going to be playing a more boomy Aztec approach here. Probably going to see 5 villages follow this up. And Cossack now looking to sort of just brush past. Yeah, he might even see those vills, potentially. Just brush past that war hut, see what's going on. But the units there, on the bottom here, they're not going to be seen. But he wants to know what's up. I think Cossack's sort of wondering what's going on here. But he sends 600
it
wood.
looks like it's going to be a little bit of a later timing from Prince for sure. He's not going to be going for that super aggressive, like 700 wood, 10 mace, 6 puma sort of playstyle that we see from most Aztec players nowadays. And I think this is probably better in this matchup than that really aggressive style. Actually, is he dancing for warrior priests at the moment, or is it just on experience? It looks like, but I lost my train of thought for a moment there. Basically, you see that Wicked Cossack sent 600 wood already. I know that Wicked Cossack normally likes to send Wood Trickle in this matchup, or, I mean, as in any matchup as India, he likes to send Wood Trickle first. So he's already sacrificed a bit of his eco going for this wall and sending 600 wood first. I mean, it's not a super big deal, but it is a big investment in defending early on that Prince is just taking advantage of by going for a greedier playstyle.
Yeah, this wall, I guess he saw that and thought, okay, you've spent a bunch of wooden villager seconds building it, I'll just slow down and play it my way. But now coming in, lots of coyote runners there, and they're going to try and find their way into the base. There's a lot of Gurkha.
The Gurkha sort of... Yeah, there's going to be a gate, they're going to be fine. But, yeah, the 10 mace shipment coming out, and, 3 Huss, actually, for Wicked, which means there's not going to be any 4 villagers from this Ottoman consulate. So, cutting even more eco. And, Prince, I think he's just going to get on out of here, having seen those pop. Although, they have to be careful not to go too far away from the town center.
Yeah. The Hussars going back in, maybe trying to bait the coyote runners back in. And that explains a lot also why he doesn't want to fight. Not only is there really awkwardly placed Gurkha to deal with, but coyote combat on the way and wasn't quite in yet, so it would be a waste to do that. God, the XP dance is strong. 3 shipments ahead now on his opponent, although 5 Sepoy now come in, so that evens it up to 2.
5 Sepoy. That's a painful shipment to have to send, especially when Prince has already got 3 warrior priests and 5 bills in himself. Like, this is cutting too much eco, probably, for Wicked, without those Ottoman villagers and without the wood trickle in. His follow-up is going to be really slow here.
Yeah.
So, Prince, I mean, he sent Coyote combat, so, I mean, he's not going to be able to push again for a little while yet. But he has another shipment available now, it's on the way, and it's probably going to be another unit shipment. But, I mean, this is a really hard base to break with Gurkha behind that wall. So Prince is going to have to get quite a few more units. But he doesn't really have to break the base to win either. He can just sort of hold on to the map control here. Deny the gold mines, deny the hunts and stuff like that. Just work up on his economy. And if Wicked Cossack can't leave his base, it's going to be a big problem for him moving forward.
Yeah, I mean, he just sort of... Time is on his side, almost, with that really nice sort of eco start. And look, starting to put villagers on there as well, which just wants to get the warrior priests out, now dancing for them. Sent his 5 villagers as well, and I think he's got all his upgrades. Yeah, Place of Mice just coming in. Cossack, he skipped his foreign logging. He skipped the 4 villagers that you get from the Ottoman consulate. Let's take a look at text complete.
So he's getting the villagers now at least, but
only
a little
just
bit
getting
late.
them, and just a couple of basic market upgrades. It's not like he's sitting back here with imperial bureaucracy and all wheels churning away. At some point, he's going to have to leave for food. There is food right here. Perhaps he can herd that back. But as you say, Aztec, if he can hold on to the map control and place war huts and things like this, it'll be on India to do something. And India hasn't had the strongest economic start, which is something Cossack really likes to do. He says the way he plays India is just play as greedy as you possibly can, get away with whatever upgrades you can. But here, it doesn't look like he's allowed himself to send now foreign logging coming in.
Yeah, so, I mean, he's got his eco up now, sort of, and he's starting to get those market upgrades rolling, but it looks like his game plan actually is just going to be to roll forward with the walls, just continuously pushing the walls forward, and that's what's going to give him the safety with his army, and as well as access to some of these extra resources. Like, he's already secured a couple of extra mines behind these walls. He's now securing those elephants, and there's another hunt just pretty close to the wall on the northeast side of his base there that he could secure with some extra walls as well. So, I mean, I guess that's the play.
Yeah.
And it can definitely work, but yeah, Prince hasn't spotted it yet. He's kind of maybe expecting India to have to do something soon, but he's not going to be feeling too uncomfortable himself with the 10 warrior priests almost ready. And I guess, yeah, we'll just have to wait and see. Like, someone's going to have to try and age up here or something like that, or or I don't really know. It's hard to predict what either player's going to do here, because this base looks really hard to break.
Is he gearing up
Aztec, but
to go in now?
I
don't know. No, he's sort of going back with the coyotes. The Mesa coming forward. Maybe the coyotes don't want to go in there guns blazing, have the ranged units out in front. He's going to find these villagers, but she's not going to get away. But the others do, so it's okay. Imperial bureaucracy in, blanket filters coming behind this. Second Ville does go down. And a third. Pardon me. That was not intentional, I do apologize. But no, he's going to get back now. The Gurkha coming out with the superior range. Just a little bit of a skirmish almost in the middle of the map there.
Yeah, and I mean the army.
Just kiting with the superior range skirmishes, or Gurkha. And now the coyotes running forward. But with these gates, like you're saying, they're just these walls pushing slowly further out. Always has somewhere to fall back. And then the coyotes just can't do what they're good at, which is ripping apart skirmisher-style units.
Yeah, although, I mean, just looking at the military size, it is pretty heavily in favor of Aztec at the moment. Though once we start getting those upgrades in, like those camel upgrades for the Indian army, maybe it won't matter that he has the smaller army. But look at Prince's macro now. He's seen the walls, he's seen the really turtley style from Wicked Cossack, and it looks like he's just going to be aging behind this, and this is going to be a problem for Wicked Cossack if he can't leave his base and can't really punish the age up.
And just losing a few vills here and there. He's actually done quite a lot of damage. He's killed 5 villagers just by sort of poking in with his units here. But that's interesting. He's pushing in. He's going to destroy this wall, but it's not like he can commit too hard to this because he has just clicked the age up button. So now going to leave, and that's just a big sign. Cossack's going to think, what? What are you doing? Where are you going? You've just killed the wall. He's going to rebuild it, but that must be a big tell to Cossack that his opponent now is going up to Fortress if he did not have the confidence to walk in a bit further with those units there.
Could be, yeah, but I mean, at the moment, look, he's throwing up another wall in the northeast of his base there. He's trying to secure that extra hunt and that gold mine up here, but it doesn't really look like he has any intention of trying to push out, and it doesn't look like he has any intention of trying to age either. So things are looking really good for Prince now, with his age up almost halfway in, and he still has a military lead. And even though Wicked Cossack does have camel attack in right now, it's still like he doesn't really have a lot of camels, it feels like, to really like push out of his base and be totally safe against this big massive units. And he might not even be able to push out once Prince completes his age up. Like, Prince is trading units in transition here, and his economy is honestly not really any worse than Wicked's at the moment.
Yeah. Kind of even. And now going up to the next age. But both players incredibly passive. Well, not passive, just not risk-taking. No waltzing in there with units.
Well, to be fair, I think from Prince's perspective, like, why would you bother trying to push into like 3 or 4 layers of walls when you can just hold on to the map and you can just get your tech, and like, this is like an extra town center's worth of walls, or it must be much more than that actually at this point from Wicked, just in terms of how much wood he's spent on it, and it really means that he just doesn't have the units to push out of his base. We even saw him building a rice paddy back at home already. Like, he's got absolutely no intention of leaving his base anytime soon.
No. But that does seem to be something Cossack enjoys doing, sort of. He's not afraid to drop rice paddies. And playing defensively, it's something he likes. But now, Prince of Kabul definitely up to the Fortress Age, dropping a couple of nobles' huts here. And
yep, and that's going to give him access to some of those
Eagle Runner Knights, Erks coming in.
Age units. He could even think about just training a few Arrow Knights and just slowly pushing down the walls.
Yeah, and maybe that is something he'll do. That Vil not going to get caught. It will finish the wall by the looks of it. But India now aging as well. Looks like that is the... I guess we'll find out. Shamanar Gates.
Yeah, so that will give him that age up as well as those Mansabdars for the stronger units. It's a very greedy wander, though. So not going to have access to the inspiration ability or the ceasefire or anything like that. And these walls, although there's a lot of them, they're pretty low HP. I don't know how long they're really going to keep him safe. There's almost down already. And yeah, the Gurkha are now going to run to the other gates here, but Prince of Kabul into the base now with those veteran upgrades. And Wicked Cossack going to hit up, but I don't know if the Mahout's going to be able to accomplish too much here.
Yeah. Looking a little bit laggy. I'm pretty sure that's on my side only, though, because of the shadows on this map and so many things moving. That is one of the troubles with custom maps, I suppose. But he's doing okay, right? The Coyotes just can't get involved. They're just not wanting to. And the Mace are no good on their own. But now they are coming forward. And look, there's another wall going up behind this and on this side. They've got plenty of places to fall back to. And now Wicked Cossack is getting Disciplined Gurkha and Disciplined Zambarak in. And Minutemen coming out.
I believe he's got a shipment on the way as well. It could be something like Europe.
Yep.
And that could be actually kind of hard for Prince to deal with.
There they are.
And yeah, but maybe not the best pop, though. Not going to pop out exactly where he wants them. But he is going to hold, and that's really big because he's sort of set up his economy a little bit already, and having held and got his tech up a little bit, then, I don't know, Aztec seems to be in maybe not the greatest spot. He's got another town center up, it looks like, on the north side of the map there, so he's trying to keep up economically, but yeah, things looking a little bit better for India now.
Yeah, here he comes, though, and he knows there's resources there from having scouted it earlier, and he imagines that he should go through, and this is a good place to start sieging. The units, they're not there, and he's got time just to rip through the wall, but no villagers on that mine or anything, and they can easily get inside the gate. He checks, and he's like, oh, bugger, and then leaves. Has realized there's not much there. Just going to start sieging down the wall, I suppose that's fine. God, he's now 5 shipments ahead. Night combat coming in. Gurkha do come out to get a couple of Mace Halton kills. I think they're picking up the Erks. That's pretty nice.
Yeah, British East India coming in for Wicked Cossack. Going to make those Gurkha quite a bit stronger.
I'm going to repair that wall almost immediately. I wonder if we'll see Bastion come in. With all these walls, it would be quite effective. It is very expensive, though. That's the trouble.
It is a really expensive upgrade, yeah. I do really like the way that Prince decided to play this game, but it feels like now he's maybe on a little bit of a timer. I mean, India's army is going to be really strong later on. The Arrow Knights could be actually quite big here.
Hot damn. That's a lot of siege. But they are pretty rubbish against just generally against units.
Right, but there's nothing. But India, like, they don't really have a super good way of dealing with these. It feels like maybe.
Yeah.
They could just potentially force Wicked Cossack to come out, and there we go. Second night card coming in. So he's not going to do anything with it just yet, but
yeah, the Erks, Skull Knights, and Arrow Knights. I assume it affects all 3 of them. Getting stronger. Is that right?
Sorry, say again?
It doesn't matter, I'll just check. Yeah, Jaguar Prowler, Skull Knight, Arrow Knight, all of the Knights. That's exactly what I thought it did. A couple of Vils gonna go down here. Bastion is coming in now. But it is very worthwhile. 400% hit points on the walls. It's very, very strong, but this first layer gonna go down before the upgrade can come in. It's just about halfway now. And it looks like the Aaronites are big mess there. They might be able to take down another layer of wall before the upgrade comes in. They're not moving in just yet.
Is Bastion even worth it against Aaronites? It feels like it might not be, to be honest.
Yeah, especially with all those upgrades. But Bastion...
It feels like it's gonna be. It feels like it's gonna be difficult for Wicked Cossack to really, like, push out to contest these Aaronites.
Bastion is now in,
which is gonna make these walls maybe not quite as effective. But yeah, it is in now. It is gonna buy him more time for sure. And
we'll see how effective the Aaronites are. Yeah, they do quite damage quite fast. But he is able to kite with the Gurkha. And every time the kites get close, he's behind a wall. He's coming out to try and handle them, but they have 40% range resist and quite a lot of hit points. They are going to be able to take that down. And now they need to get behind the wall and find another wall to go behind. But he does have Yorumi here. But they're not super strong against Coyote runners. But they will be very strong against...
No, but I don't know about this positioning for Prince, though. Pushing into the choke point. Feels like it could be pretty good for Wicked Cossack, actually. He does have those Mansubdars out now for his Gurkha. And along with the Urmi tanking in the choke point there, it looks like he's going to be able to hold this pretty effectively. The Aaronites just focusing down the Agrafort for the time being. Not going to be contributing to the fight. And actually, Wicked Cossack's going to be able to hold this just fine, it looks like.
Yeah, he holds it. The Agrafort goes down, but it's not really it's not a super big deal anymore. It was just a barracks. That wonder is not overly useful, so I don't think he'll mind too much. And
yeah,
looks like
definitely.
He's gained enough room to rebuild the walls here, and now with Bastion in, every time these walls are rebuilt, it's so good for him. He gains so much more forward momentum pushing. I don't know what I'm trying to say. Getting the walls up is nice, but remember, Bastion on EP does make walls build slower. Makes sense once they are so big and beefy. But it is worth getting. Aaronites trying to raid villages. They do get one, but they're not particularly good at anything other than killing villages. Buildings. Gurkha now coming forward.
Yeah, I think Wicked's going to be feeling a little bit more comfortable about pushing out of his base now. Having stopped that push, and now he's got his upgrades in. He's got the Mansubdars in. He's got Royal Mint in, even for his rice paddies moving forward into the later stages of the game. And yeah, his army is starting to look more and more formidable as the game goes on. Even though Prince has those knight cards in, he just doesn't have a good answer to Gurkhas, the range of those Gurkhas.
Do you think this TC is going to get swallowed up in the empire that is Wicked Cossack's walling maze? The TC will have to assimilate.
Probably not before he kills it, though. But yeah, more wall. He's just playing this really slowly. Like, he doesn't want to leave the base without pushing his line of walls forward. But it is going to enable him to get good trades with these Gurkhas. But it's also going to just take a long time to actually move forward.
Yeah. Block support coming in as well. And the Coyotes have found themselves on top of the Gurkha here, but there are a lot of Zambareks in the back, so they're not going to last long, and indeed does have walls to retreat behind as well. Doesn't have any Yorumi left, but Siege Elephants coming out.
Wait, why though? That's kind of a weird card.
Yeah, it is a bit weird. It's not like they counter Aaronites, do they? I mean, maybe they do.
I think they do have a hidden multiplier against Aaronites, but I think Aaronites do much better against them than they do. And I mean, it's going to help him take down the TC from a distance, but it feels like they're maybe not the greatest addition to this army. Either way, though, I don't think it really matters at this point. I mean, we've sort of hit the point in the game where India is sort of starting to outscale Aztec's army a little bit. Things might be a little bit different if Aztec were in Industrial and, they had Smoking Mirror in on their Explorer and stuff like that, but we're not at this stage, or at that stage right now, which means that Aztec doesn't really have a good way to get up close and personal with this army without paying a lot of units to do so.
Yeah. Comic Case saying Bastion is 1,000% worthwhile. This is a pretty good fight for India here. The Urk's not particularly good against skirmishers, although they are adding a lot of damage in on the back there, and just constantly retreating back every time, just able to kite so well against Aztec. They just don't have the range. The Mace Halton just do not have the range to keep up with Gurkha, especially behind walls, and then the Coyote Runners are no good either. India's playing this very slow and steady, and it's working.
Yeah, it is working for now, but Prince does manage to defend the town center. This wall is not going to get pushed forward just yet, so it's going to be a long time before either player maybe breaks this stalemate.
Yeah. Let's take a look at their rice paddy counts. I think it's economic units. No, that's just units, apparently. Okay, so 1, 2, 3 rice paddies. And still on coin up here. There's not a lot of wood left for Wicked. That could be awkward. The only trees are here now. He's got some here. But when is wood ever an issue? That's... Tree control could well be what cripples India here. If he can just deny all the wood, then there won't be any more rice paddies. Wonder now going down, Mitoe. Looks like Wicked Cossack looking to get up to the industrial age.
Yeah, it looks like Prince could think about following him up, though, pretty easily. His economy is, of course, really strong as well, and he's got a lot of resources in the bank. So he could definitely go up himself. I'm not going to do that just yet. Well, then again, actually, he's getting really close. It looks like he is actually going to try.
Yeah, and he's even got a plantation down and 4 mills, so he's even more... 5 mills, well, farms, whatever you want to call them. He's even more switched than Wicked Cossack is, though Wicked Cossack does have the advantage of rice paddies, so he does not need to build plantations, he just switches them over to gold, which is a big deal when wood is kind of hard for him to gather at the moment. Prince of Kabul actually ahead on eco. It looks like he used... I think switched over to the what is it? The dance that makes units train really
fertility
fast.
Dance.
Yeah, and got out 99 vils.
Yeah, probably did, and that's going to.
And also a lot of vils just
moving into the industrial
have been dying just because they've been trying to push out and build walls. And look, these now all idle. They've got to find jobs, and there's no trees inside the base for them to chop. So they've not got anything to do.
They could just walk to the other... I mean, it's far away, but they could just walk to the other side here. I mean, there's not a lot of stuff here to really pressure them, although Skull Knights...
There's wood here.
Feels like those Skull Knights must have been there a long time, and he just forgot about them.
Yeah, they're... I mean... Well, they're not a shipment. Oh, I guess he aged up with them?
He aged with them, probably, yeah. Or maybe
wait, no, because he's only just getting industrial.
No, but you can age with 4 Skull Knights, I think, or 3 Skull Knights to age 3. I know there's more than that. It's probably a big button.
Right. That makes sense. Okay, there's a lot of big buttons for Aztec. It's hard to keep track of them. But
Smoking Mirror in now, though, which means this we've reached the point in the game where Aztec, their war chief is just the most annoying thing in the world, and that could be tricky for Wicked to deal with. I feel like that war chief will do actually really well against these Urumi, and I honestly have no idea how it plays out from this point in the game with both India and Aztec in Age 4. Just look at that war chief just running straight in there. He's going to go down, but he'll be revived very easily with that heal dance if Prince is on top of things.
Yeah, but look at that. How often do you see champion Mace Halton? And look at the Skull Knights. They're on top of the Vils, but Wicked Cossack does realize it and has pulled them off. But somehow the Indian army is actually shredding through these champion Mace Halton. And the Urks are just sort of no good against these units.
No answer. There's no answer to the Gurkha from this army. And that war chief, it looked like he didn't actually choose to go for the heal dance, so it didn't revive. And he's in a lot of trouble now, having lost that army. I mean, he's still got a lot of resources in the bank, so he can certainly afford to replace it. But there's just no answer to Gurkha.
Yeah, Gurkha seem exceptional against a Civ that just doesn't have another skirmisher. So he just does not have the range to keep up with the Gurkha. And walls are just stopping the Coyotes from being effective, though here a few of them do find some Coyote. And obviously no cannons for Aztec either. They do have Arrow Knights, but Arrow Knights are god-awful against units. There is no answer to the Gurkha. This is really hard for Prince to deal with. But he does have map control. He has tree control. And these villagers are just stuck. They've been standing there the whole time, Mitoe. They just can't find a job. They're literally, in this economy, they're jobless.
It definitely looks like the control of the trees is going to be important in this game, and I doubt that Prince has even realized it yet, that the trees are actually that important. Because normally in AoE3, they're really not until very, very, very late into the game. And usually not unless you're doing some crazy stuff like water or something. So if he manages to identify that could definitely be a win condition for him, at least until WickedCossack can set up all of those villagers on rice paddies.
Hot damn. This is, yeah. Can India get a factory? Is there a Russian consulate?
No, they can't.
That sucks. Wow. He's trying to... And look at this, a warhawk going down on the trees. Maybe Prince has figured it out. They found some trees to chop at. How many trees are left on the map? Not that many. Well, actually, there is. They have 150. I don't think the trees will come down to it.
They only have
150.
Right, they only have 150 on this map. I forgot about that. Yeah, actually, it's quite a bit less than you would expect.
I've never ever seen a game of Age 3 come down to it running out of wood. Ever.
I played a 2.5 hour game where I lost because there was no wood left. I was paying 250 gold for wood. It's really...
This is almost like...
that stage.
That's insane. I've never... We could be seeing a game come down to control of the trees. But looks like Prince just going to slam a giant wall across the map there. We're now playing half map.
Half map, no rush 40 coming up.
Yeah. Well, no rush 33.
We're almost done the boom, guys.
Yeah, the boom is nearly over, but they've also fit in a bit of extra fighting for you to keep you interested. 9 Urumi coming out.
Another 9 Urumi. Yeah, I mean, I guess the Urumi are still kind of worth it. Does he have more economic cards in his deck? Can we take a look? No, just the rum distillery card, and that's about it. So, he is likely just going to continue sending those Urumi shipments as the game progresses. At least until he is fully set up on rice paddies. I was going to say war paddies, but what the heck is a war paddy?
Oh, I'm not sure what a war paddy is. Yeah. What do you get from a war paddy? That sounds awesome.
I kind of feel like Wicked is playing this too slowly. He's max population.
Imperial Age coming in for Prince of Kabul.
I was going to say, and Prince is Imperial, so he's got to think about doing something soon. Because Imperial upgrades are definitely one thing that could help you compensate for the fact that you don't have a counter to Gurk.
That's true. Imperial anything is a counter to Gurkha if your opponent can't match it. And I'm going to call it. I think Prince of Kabul has won this game off the bat with the Imperial upgrade coming in. Or
does he have an Imperial upgrade coming in?
No, not yet. Well, the Imperial Age.
Bastion.
And he did get the Udasi as well. What did he get there? I guess he went for
10%.
Yeah, Punjabi New Year
farms.
I've never seen that built on this map.
The only time I've ever seen it be relevant on this map, yeah. But yeah, I mean, I'm not sure how you try to win from here with
champion Coyote runners. That's what you use, and the Urumi aren't particularly good against them. Let's switch on over to military units here. He's got 15 Sepoy and 11 Musks mixed in.
Yeah, I think, I believe, I didn't see exactly which upgrades were coming in, but I believe now that Prince has those economic upgrades in, I think he got the 50% at least on his farms. I'm not 100% certain, but I'm pretty sure. Even though he doesn't have Imperial unit upgrades just yet, he's not going to be afraid of taking bad trades when he's got those 50% economic upgrades in. And he'll be able to replace these armies pretty easily. And trading units is also going to be really hard for Wicked Cossack, because it's going to make him not able to follow him up to the Imperial Age himself.
And he's got them in. He's got excessive tribute, the gold upgrade, large-scale gathering, the food upgrade. I wonder if you just skip the wood upgrade. Actually, there's probably enough trees for it to be relevant, so it's fine.
Well, now that we're talking about trees, actually, I mean, trees are really important for Aztec moving into the late game. So, I mean, yeah, they're the problem for India at the moment, but super long term, as long as he can somehow get to Imperial, get a couple Imperial upgrades, maybe the trees won't matter so much for India anymore. But they will be a big problem for Prince. And, I mean, I don't think that... Well, wait. Did he age at the Tower of Victory? I think he did age at the Tower of Victory, actually. I was going to say he could age at the Tower of Victory for, like, 2,000 wood. Wait.
You mean Cossack? Ah, Shamanagate. Carni Marcia.
No, Oh, okay. So
Imperial Age is in, though, for...
Wicked... Taj Mahal, no! It should have been... I mean, it's going to give him
big.
ceasefire.
That wall is nearly down, and all of the rice paddies are here.
Yeah, he's just forced to evacuate there. This could be a problem for him.
Yeah. Having
Also,
placed them all in the same location is kind of awkward.
Infinite 1000 coin is very convenient as well for Aztec.
Yeah.
Gonna lose some more villagers. Those villas are actually really difficult to replace with the wood running out on this map.
Oh, that's right. Indian villas do cost wood. Yeah, that's kind of awkward too. Wow, who would have thought it would come down? If there was just more trees on Thar Desert, it would be maybe not this bad for Cossack. But with the Imperial Age in, and Cossack aging behind this, yeah, GG does come out after the longest game I've ever witnessed on Thar Desert. Prince of Kabul solidifies a lead in this series.
Yeah, ultimately I don't think Wicked Cossack lost because of the trees, though. I feel like he's... I mean, yeah, they did hurt him quite a bit, but I feel like he played this very, like, way too slowly, it feels like. He had, like, some good opportunities to maybe push out of his base in the mid-game, but he was just so afraid to do so, and I really like the way that Prince played it. He didn't, like, overcommit to any aggressive thing, like any super aggressive timing under the aggro or trying to break through the walls. He just played it really slow. He got his economy up there. He teched up. He, held on to the map and delayed his farm transition and stuff like that. And it pulled out the win just off of the back of some really solid play against this really heavy turtle style that Wicked was going for.
Yeah. What a series it's been. We've seen 3 very, very long games. So 3 very interesting games in a row. This is a real treat. And Prince of Kabul is now the second player in, I think, the whole tournament to go Imperial Age who isn't Kanisi or Wicked Cossack also when he played against Risi on Deccan. So the third player to go Imperial Age in a 1v1 in this tournament. I think that's true, but who knows? Should we take a look at the post-game? Any concluding thoughts? It was quite a long game. I'm not sure if I'll be able to pick out any moments from these graphs.
It's really hard to point to any specific moment. Yeah, I mean, it was just a really slow grind from both players, and I feel like what it comes down to is Wicked Cossack was just too reliant on his walls to really leave his base, and as a result, like, it just led to Prince having the time to do whatever he wanted, and he got a big lead as a result, and that's really what that game came down to. Yeah.
Prince of Kabul pulls ahead in this series. So far, we've had a very, very even series. Prince takes a game, Wicked takes a game, Prince takes a game, but Wicked does not take the game on the Thar Desert, and instead Prince of Kabul solidifies a lead. It's not match point yet. Next up will be High Plains. Prince of Kabul has to pick first. To be honest, I have no idea how he can top that action-packed game. Yeah, there was a lot of camping behind walls. It was not the most interesting game, but I really enjoyed watching it. It's such a change of pace from what we usually see on Thar Desert that it was actually very enjoyable to watch.
Yeah, it was certainly very different, but looks like the next map is going to be High Plains. Prince will have to select his civ first again. Trying to think about what Prince would normally play on this map. I feel like he could go back to Otto, maybe.
Yeah. Deneb asking if we see the real-time footage and the 2-minute delayed footage. We do, yeah. We can see the stream and hear it as it is being produced, or as it is live. And we can see the 2-minute delayed version by watching it on Twitch on another computer. But looks like Prince of Kabul will be playing a Sioux, not the Ottoman. WickedCossack says, nice selection. Seems like the Sioux are quite strong currently on EP, and are also quite good on this map, so it seems like this is a good pick.
Yeah, definitely like the Sioux pick, and Wicked gonna go back to Germany. That's surprising, I feel like. I don't know. I feel I haven't been convinced by his German play this tournament.
Yeah.
And it feels like something that he's not as comfortable with as other civs, so yeah.
Azamp just waking up. Good morning, chaps. The score is currently 3-1, Azamp. Good morning. Thank you for tuning in. So you're not totally convinced by Germany, but Cossack is... He doesn't want to play a mirror. I mean, this would be really good for Kabul if there were a mirror played, because he's picking first, and forcing a mirror when you're picking first always feels like a victory, because your opponent never really got to use their Civ counter pick. So,
and I think it would be something that Prince would be more comfortable with as well, with the Sioux. But I don't know. I just feel like Wicked has some other civs that I feel like he would be more comfortable with against Sioux, like India or Dutch, but maybe he's got some kind of plan, maybe he knows something we don't, so we'll have to wait and see. But one thing to keep in mind in the early game here is that if it's not a wood start, Sioux could potentially get some really good Guardians and just outright deny a trading post for Germany, which could make this even harder on this map than it has to be for Germany.
Yeah. Someone says, of course it's match point. Oh, it is match point. My mistake. It's we're currently on 3 victories, so this is now match point for Prince of Kabul. I am mistaken. The stakes are even higher than I thought. My apologies for being a numpty. I think I'm so used to casting best of 5s that the 4 is usually best of 9s rather. That having 5 victories is the end of the game. But let's start with WickedCossack in the north of the map. He will be pleased to see a 200 wood start. He can lock down a trading post at the start of the game, and Germany really do enjoy that. Dregan coming in with the tier 1 sub. Spanky gifting one to A's as well. Let's get some AoE wills in the chat. GLHF. That does seem to be part of WickedCossack's villager micro. He fits in the GLFHF, and Prince going with the U2 strategy, which is the minimal possible characters that you need to respond to that in a polite way. So I like that from Prince of Kabul. Good choice there. But Cossack, as we said, with that wood start, is going to place it down on the bottom of the map. But Prince is searching up in the north, does find a 60 food treasure. He does use his Guardian ability on that. Not going to look for a better treasure Guardian to collect, just going to get stuck into it and started right away.
Yep. Thankfully for WickedCossack, it was a wood start. He will be getting that early trading post up safely before Stu has a chance to try and stop that. But yeah, this matchup, I do think this matchup is actually kind of close-ish, but I kind of prefer Sioux just because Germany usually likes to be the aggressor I think, in most matchups, but it's really difficult to be the aggressor as Germany against Sioux, just because of the way the Civ works. Like, they're so mobile, and it's really hard for you to deal with the raids and stuff like that with war wagons. And the H2 timing doesn't always work out. It's a little bit risky, so I don't know. We'll have to see what WickedCossack chooses to go for in this game. Like, why did he pick Germany into Sioux? And hopefully he can pull something off here.
Cossack does get that. And the Sioux War Chief's taken a lot of damage, and he doesn't have very many good Treasure Guardians. In fact, he doesn't have any Treasure Guardians. Looks like they've all died. So that's no good. This is quite a good start for Germany. I mean, the treasures have been pretty average. Kabul does find a lot of coin, and a 60 food treasure as well. So I think he is the leader in Age 1 here. And it doesn't look like there'll be anything useful except maybe a tomahawk. That's a reasonable treasure. The only other really strong treasure on this map is the villager treasure at the top here, which I don't think anyone's scouted just yet, but looks like Blue is about to do that.
Yep, and he'll be feeling pretty happy about that. But it looks like Wicked is going to grab that Tomahawk for himself on the south side of the map. So Tomahawk is one of the nicer treasures against Sioux, I feel, just because you can deal so much more easily with some of those early raids. The Tomahawk is quite good at that. And that wolf is going to reset and ruin Wicked's life. And it's going to... is it going to reset
probably
again?
Like, God damn it. He's like, I need to get this treasure because Sioux can literally just appear out of anywhere and steal your treasures. But he does get the Tomahawk, and that is a nice unit. As you said, he's good against dealing with raids, and that's because it has a ranged multiplier. Musketeers do not usually or do not have a ranged multiplier versus Cav. In fact, nor do regular Tomahawks, but this one does. It is the native vanilla Iroquois Tomahawk that actually does melee damage at range, which kind of makes sense if you're throwing axes, so that's nice. But Sioux do pick up the villager there.
The question is, do you use that villager for a proxy stable?
Not in that location. Oh, hold on a moment. Yes, definitely in that location. That's a really interesting villager, actually.
Yeah, something to keep an eye on. We'll see if he ends up using that. I feel like he probably won't. Also, it might just get spotted by this Tomahawk eventually. But it's an option available to him that maybe he wouldn't normally like to go for because of the wasted villager seconds.
Yeah. Does scout the villager. And Prince probably thinks, there's no point now. The Tomahawk saw me. It's also very strong. It could be quite threatening to the villager. So he's going to get that out now that the Tomahawk scouted it. There's no point staying there. But WickedCossack is going to add a second TP during transition, as well as the market.
Yeah, that's very greedy. But that will give him a much stronger mid-game, potentially. He's got 2 shipments saved up, now 1 on the way.
Yeah, maybe with that Tomahawk he feels confident.
Looks like it's going to be 700 wood, I think. Just looking, I'm pretty sure that's 23 out of 20 population, right? Please tell me I can read that correctly.
It is.
Okay, yeah, so 700 wood is going to be coming in first, which is going to help him make some more units from this barracks. It's also going to help him get those market upgrades up. It could mean that he could also go for some more trading posts if he really wants to try to go for Stagecoach or something like that. And with the crossbow pike out to sort of help defend that, he might be able to get that up relatively safely.
700 wood. There it is. 50 coin in the back there. Looks like Prince going to start with Axe Riders. 4 Axe Riders. He has Axe Riders in queue behind this. 5 Axe Riders in queue. So we'll have lots of Axe Riders. And it's going to use them not to raid. It looks like he knows WickedCossack's base defense is quite good. WickedCossack also not afraid to build walls. But also, just his opponent's gone for 2 trading posts. So, but they will be defended. 5 pikes come out. But now with the extra Cossacks, pardon me, Axe Riders.
He's going to go around and flank with them. And yeah, I think these pikes going to take out 1, maybe 2 Axe Riders, but definitely not the best trade for 5.
Yeah. But there are 5 more, and they will be able to handle a smaller group. And they do get... He finds Buffalo. I suppose that is what he does. Very low on HP. Doesn't take that out just yet, though. Looks like he was trying to get the ranged attack in with the Explorer, but that does survive. And it may well be the case that this trading post goes down, but the other Axe Riders are not staying nearby, so they can't take this fight just yet. Now coming in. Trying to keep this TP up. Trying to get back to another group of pikes that have come in, and 10 pikes will be enough. And now Prince of Kabul gonna have to get out of there. The TP is saved, and the repair not quite in yet, but he can click the button.
Yeah, I think he'll be able to repair that pretty easily. And now the 700 coin coming in.
This guy can attack.
Yeah, he does like no damage, but he can.
But it does deny the repair, which is the important thing.
He's gonna. Yeah. Although the Axe Riders are not really there to follow up on that, maybe it's not going to matter. Instead, he's just going to pick up a 320 XP treasure, which is going to help out his shipment progression quite a bit. But looks like Wicked is going to be aging with that 700 coin shipment coming in. And he did manage to hold on to that second trading post, so he's going to be feeling pretty comfortable in the Fortress Age here, I think.
Yeah, that's really, really good for him, hanging on to both of them, but he did make a lot of pikes to do it.
That's true. He did have to
nice
build
bill pickup.
Like 15
but the speed
to 20
of the
pikes,
war chief might mean those Ulans get caught. No, he's going to give up.
Yeah, not going to chase that. Maybe a little bit afraid that the pikes could be nearby. But, I mean, as long as you do hold on to that trading post, those pikes are definitely going to pay off. And pikes are honestly not the worst unit in the world to have against Sioux anyway, even in Fortress, just because of how cav-heavy their army is. So he's definitely going to be feeling good about that. But he is up now. Stable is going to be going down, and he is going to start working towards that sort of Skirm War Wagon composition. Well, most likely Skirm War Wagon composition. And Prince is going to be following up as well, but he did invest an extra shipment into the Colonial Age, which was compensated a little bit by that 320 XP, but it is going to mean that his early fortress might be a little bit more on the weaker side than it would normally be. Or at least slower. But nothing in queue for Prince behind this. He's got a lot of resources stacked.
He's
not
looking to go up to Fortress? Is he? Prince isn't even Fortress
he's not.
yet.
I thought he was already Fortress. I don't know what I'm thinking.
I do that. Don't worry. You just get ahead of yourself, especially after like a 40-minute game on Thar Desert.
Right. Yeah. So yeah, just gonna be going up to Fortress. Gonna be dropping down a War Hut. Ulan's not gonna be able to deny that. They are actually just going to die. Will they get the Vil? No, not gonna get the Vil. But what is Prince is aging up with the Exile or the Messenger? Never mind. I was going to ask if he's aging with the Bison, but nope. It's going to be the Messenger Politician. It looks like, and some sneaky Ulans just hiding around there. Prince doing a good job of just checking for these Ulans in these raiding paths. He is going to find one most likely. Maybe not going to go far enough.
Is that? Do you have a pet parrot?
That's my brother.
Oh, right. I thought you had like a budgie or something. I was like, I didn't realize.
Yeah. My brother is my pet parrot. You're right.
I guess it's that. That's fine. Here comes the pikeman. Gonna try and take down that trading post in the top there. Try and get some use out of them. Because he knows that I think the blue army's sort of down on the bottom. He maybe saw it with his Ulans. So it has some time to...
don't think he could have, or else they'd be dead. Probably,
okay.
But
that's true.
I think he knows that Prince just aged and so likely doesn't have a lot of units out, and is likely safe to do so. But Prince we equally realize that there's going to be less units at home as a result of that. It's going to push straight in, trying to get some damage done, maybe trade off a few units for some villagers or from a batch of units from this barracks or stable. And does get one Vil, force a lot of idle time, and doesn't see any units around.
I thought for a moment Wicked Cossack used the town bell, because every villager went in, and if you use the bell, they do go back to work on the resources that they were previously on. But no, that's not the case here.
I hate the town bell so much.
Yeah, I've unmapped it as a hotkey. It's awful.
Yeah, I did too.
I used to have it right next to my my villager creation button, like V for villager create and B for bell, and God, the amount of times I hit that, it was just awkward. But Cossack now up to the Fortress Age. Looks like I didn't notice that trading post get cleaned up, but he did trade it for his opponent's one. So they both lost the trading post here. I'm not sure who that favors. Probably Prince of Kabul.
So I think Prince got the Bison from the Cheyenne, actually. Or is that a Comanche post? That's a Comanche post, so he's actually going to get the cavalry upgrades from that.
Cavalry hit points, cavalry speed, and everything costs less coin, or researches, rather.
Yeah, so a couple of those upgrades are quite good for the Sioux army. It's like speed is really nice for them. Since they're already really fast, why wouldn't you want faster cavalry? And 10% hit points is quite good as well, so...
Yeah, he's gotten,
I like the decision to go for that.
He's only got horse breeding thus far. But it is expensive.
That's the speed one, is it?
Horse breeding, I don't know, actually. I mean, I suppose we can check. Horse breeding is the hit points one.
Okay.
But you so rarely see it. 10% HP. But it's expensive, and it costs 200 wood at that trading post. But it looks like he's coming forward to deal with this war hut. Cav now looking to get involved. It's a lot of war wagons. Pardon me. Does take down the trading post. And Cav combat coming in just now.
Yeah, so these are some pretty strong axe riders and bow riders, but it doesn't look like he has enough units, maybe. Yeah, and he's just going to be forced to back up for the time being. That skirmisher mass just slightly in favor of Wicked Cossack, with those skirmishers being slightly stronger than Wakina individually, as well as the additional range. He is going to be forced to back up there for the time being, and Wicked going to spot this trading post. That might deny him from getting the speed upgrade, but he did get the HP upgrade, so don't be too upset. That speed upgrade looks to be pretty expensive anyway.
And he's getting
doing some raiding as well.
Because the one that costs... Where's the rating? I feel like I should go and look at it.
They're not going to find any villagers, it looks like, but...
That does go down. Yeah, the one that makes Comanche trade language is like the obvious one to get first, because it makes these other two upgrades, and indeed every other upgrade, cost 10% less coin, including your age ups to fortress and industrial, etc. But it takes so goddamn long to research. It's like a full minute or a minute and a half or something. Maybe it was halfway through an upgrade and it just like never finished because they take so long to... Rest in peace, Mitoe.
Oh, wasn't holding the push to talk. I don't think you get enough upgrades in the Fortress Age for that one to really be worth it, though.
No. Maybe it's worth it if you like get it in Colonial before you click up to Fortress, but whatever.
I think it's more of a late game thing, maybe. But anyway, some units getting caught here.
Yeah, this is good for Cossack, but they are very fast.
Yeah, they're going to be able to escape. They're going to be able to kill a Vil as well up there, but losing units as Sioux is definitely not something you want to do, not for free. He's going to get another Vil, though, so he's actually got a decent trade. The Black Riders...
Yep.
He's going to be able to escape, though, despite the Black Riders popping out in a good spot. He killed a few Vils, and, I mean, he lost 4 or 5 units there, but that's not the end of the world, and killing some Vils for that is definitely okay. It looks like he got another Vil on the right side that was hurting that hunt. But, yeah, with the Black Riders out now, things are looking potentially really tough for Prince. That Dog Soldier Big Button that's going to be coming at some point later on here is not nearly as scary when you've got, like, 15 war wagons and 9 Black Riders.
Yeah. And a few pikes mixed in there as well. But that
hero pikeman.
Maybe, I think Prince is saving for that now. Most villagers on food. And we'll be looking to get his big Dog Soldier Big Button. Is Cossack coming in here for a push before it arrives? This kind of feels like the wrong time to... And Cav hit points coming in. So
I mean, I feel like he's probably feels like he's got enough anti-cav that he can deal with the dog soldiers. Like that's so much ranged cavalry.
Yep. And does find a villager raid. Gonna kill the CDB, which is nice. That's the easier one to kill, because it has no melee resist. Fight. Skirms get caught out in the open! That's not where they need to be, Cossack. That's really awkward.
Yeah,
Lose
that's
quite a few
huge.
skirms.
Does manage to trade back a couple of units in return, but definitely a really nice pickup for Prince. That's going to give him the advantage in terms of skirmisher count, I believe. And yeah, there's the dog soldiers coming out, so off the back of that trade, Prince could think about going for a push here.
Yeah, and with the Cav HP upgrade, that really is quite a bit more HP. Not only Cav combat and cavalry hit points, but the Comanche one, that really affects dog soldiers more than other kinds of units because they have more base HP. But he's not looking to push just yet. Did get a good trade,
I wonder
though.
what he's waiting for.
9 Ulans coming out, bolstering this army. They're not veteran.
Maybe he was waiting for those bow riders maybe to draw some units away, and now he's going to be pushing onto this gold mine, hoping that the units are busy chasing that siege dance this down or something like that. He's on siege dance now. It is going to go down very quickly.
And this is forcing Cossack in, but veteran Ulan isn't in just yet. He's halfway through that, but he does manage to just poke his head in enough to get the Vils out of there nice and safely. And veteran Ulan will come in. I was worried for a moment that he would have to fight that without. This is quite an even fight. Or game.
At least for Prince, even though he didn't take a trade there after calling the dogs and stuff like that, he did force Wicked off of the gold mine, so these vills are going to have to migrate all the way down to the south side of the map here. And that's going to buy Prince a little bit more time to train some units back at home where Wicked Cossack doesn't really have the resources to match that. So he could be thinking about pushing again pretty soon, but for the time being, he's just looking for vills with those bow riders behind Wicked's base and just sort of biding his time, I guess. Maybe waiting for another upgrade to come in. He's got one last cavalry upgrade he could be sending.
Yeah. Let's take a look at the hunts.
On the way.
There's one hunt left, so it's not going to come in and be a huge issue until a while from now, but all the hunt is starting to disappear. Just this one left for him, as I said, and then 1, 2, 3. So this side of the map is going to be really important in the later portion of the game. Not relevant just yet, though. We'll see. This fight is probably going to be more relevant than anything else. Those Vils given some forewarning from this house.
Yeah, and now with the 3 upgrades on the cavalry and the fire pit up as well, I think Sioux has a really scary army right now.
Did he delete his fire pit and then rebuild it next to the mine so it's easier to...
Yeah, here we go. This is going to be go time for Prince, or maybe not. Not the best positioning there.
That positioning
with the
really nice. Those
there.
Trees and coin mines getting in the way of everything. Bit of a raid coming in, potentially. Pike and war wagon raid. And a Black Rider. It seems like quite a lot to commit to anti-raiding or raiding in. But they are going to find some villies, and they're exposed. I think No, he does spot that quite quickly. That was a really quick spot. Prince on point today.
His whole army being down there means that Prince can now push in, though, and potentially siege down a large portion of the base. It's hard to get back here, but it looks like Prince not going to be... Okay, he is going to be going for the siege dance on the town center, actually. Probably not a lot of villagers in there, but losing the town center is always painful, and there's not much that Wicked Cossack's going to be able to do to defend that. Although now finally getting back, the town center does go down.
Yeah.
And Ulan's dropping really quickly to the bow riders. And without the town center for a shift point or provide Minutemen or everything like that, well, it's kind of hard to say how this fight is going, actually. His positioning behind the houses is actually really nice for the skirmishers and the war wagons here. The cavalry are going to be forced to fight the war wagons. I think Wicked might actually just come out of this fight off, by the skin of it.
And he's going to have reinforcing units at the stable and barracks. Remember, he's just fighting underneath that. Yeah, it looks like Cossack has come out ahead in this fight. Are they melee combat war wagons? They are. I love melee combat war wagons. I don't really know how that works, but they are in melee combat. Sort of the horses nibbling the feet.
Looks like they were just up close. They weren't in melee, but
okay, sure.
Yeah, melee war wagons are interesting though because they have 3 range. So that's kind of not very relevant most of the time, but it is cool.
But look at how far ahead he came out in that fight here. And, teepees were... I didn't notice that in the fight. The infantry slammed some teepees down for the extra stats among all of these houses and
yeah, they were a
like
little
that.
bit far away from the cavalry, though. They kind of only affected the Wakina. But
this looks... Town center or not, he is going to rebuild that quickly. But he is really far ahead now in terms of military units, and this is looking solid for Wicked Cossack.
Yeah, and the resources are starting to run out for Prince as well, so that fight, he really needed to win it.
Yep. War Hut now going down on the top, just to give him a bit of extra safety. But now on Wicked Cossack to do something. Really nice score lead. Pretty good army here as well. Wouldn't be surprised to see more upgrades come in behind this. He's got those colonial age upgrades for his war wagons and uhlans. And there will be some units walking across the map. I guess it's now down to Prince to just be as active as he possibly can, moving all around the map, force Cossack to be everywhere, and never allow him sort of a moment to come with a fully focused attack on the remaining villages. Because if that happens, Cossack will win.
Yeah, it's going to be a tall order, though. Those Wakina are going to get cleaned up by the war wagons here. The Axe Rider is just going to try and cut across behind the base, try to draw the war wagons away for even more time. But they're going to get caught by the Uhlans. Tried to pick off the Uhlans himself, but not maybe a little bit too ambitious. And he will lose a couple units as a result. But he should be able to get on out of there with the extra speed from the War Chief. And this is actually buying a lot of time with these 20 war wagons chasing that down.
Yeah. But the skirmishes, they're sort of unprotected. They could be quite vulnerable to cav, though they do have 5 pikes there.
Yeah,
and he knows that
there's just no units out for Prince, though.
Exactly, so they're okay. Does have some Wakina, but some Uhlans do find a raid. Yeah, and cavalry hit points coming in now for Wicked Cossack. The pace of the game slowed enough. He doesn't have to keep up the constant military shipments, can start to get in some of those stronger upgrades, particularly because he has quite a big cav mass as it is. Bit of a raid in the south here, but only 1 unit in the War Chief there. War Hut going down. This is his next food. He needs somewhere to be defended. But it looks like Cossack now going to regroup his forces and should be able to go in for that final blow.
Yeah, it looks like that is going to be the name of the game. He's identified this location with those Uhlans raiding. He knows there's a lot of villagers up here. And he knows that all he has to do is either deny these resources or kill the villagers, whatever comes first. And that will likely be the end of the game, and he will pick up his second win and sort of bring it a little bit closer to tying up the series. And going to be taking out the War Hut. Doesn't spot the villagers. I wonder if he'll push up to this. But Prince kind of coming in here a little bit too far with the bow riders. He's got War Dance going. This is sort of his last attempt here, but there's definitely not enough here. Just look at the military population. It's almost 100 up for Wicked Cossack at this point, and he's got raids going on the bottom side of the map as well at the same time that this fight's going on, and it's just going to be GG called from.
GG does get called. It is still match point to Prince of Kabul, but Wicked Cossack catching back up. And this was still a 25-minute game. Quite a long one again. Neither player wanting to jam their armies in quite early on. Often Sioux waits, I suppose, until the big button does arrive, but very well handled from Cossack. Lots of going very anti-cav heavy, lots of war wagons, and getting that Black Riders out in a timely manner at around the point you would expect to see the big button timing. it looked for a moment like Prince was doing all right. You know, once you got that big, mobile, massive stuff and you have Siege Dance, you just sort of waltz in here, destroy the TC. But Cossacks units went too far away, so it's not like much infrastructure got destroyed. And it looked like quite a close game up until that fight in the base. But Wicked Cossack came out really far ahead there and does pick himself up the victory. Let's take a look at that fight on the post-game, I suppose. And you can see how well it went in terms of population. Prince losing a lot more, and that's really where the game was defined. Took Cossack a while to sort of push in and deliver the final blow, partly due to Prince's raiding and diligence trying to keep him out of his base, but ultimately you can't stop the Cossack. And that will be game number 5. The next map would usually be Fertile Crescent, but it has been vetoed, and we will see Pampas Sierras, a non-trading post map. And India is still a civ that Wicked Cossack can play. It is not disabled, he has not won with it yet, so this is looking pretty good for Cossack. But, Mitoe, can you give your thoughts whilst I run to the loo? And then if you need to go as well, perhaps when I come back.
Sure.
Alright, I won't be along.
Looks like Wicked Cossack is actually elected to go with the British as his pick on Pampas Sierras. And Prince is going to be countering with India. So this is actually, at the beginning of the series, Wicked Cossack was asking in the first game, why not do India versus Brit? And he said, I hear it's good for India, but I will play Brit. So Wicked Cossack actually maybe either mind gaming in that first game or else has something prepared for this matchup, potentially. This matchup is sort of traditionally believed to favor India, but Wicked Cossack maybe not believing that so much. So we'll see if he has something up his sleeve. This map is, of course, a non-trading post map, which is okay for both of these civs. And those extra llamas on the left side of the map going to be very good for India. Brit going to have a harder time contesting that, but there's a fair bit of resources at home, which will be nice for British moving into the later stages of the game. And it will be up to Prince to deny the remainder of the resources on the map, but he'll have... basically, Wicked Cossack won't have to worry about that as early as he normally would on some other maps, I think.
Yes.
Alright. Hello, Mitoe.
Welcome back.
I am back. I just got hounded by Zach. He's like, Omega Hype! It's happening! Omega Hype! I must admit, this is quite cool. It is quite worrying for Cossack, though. He is on match point. He did just get a win in. And if he can get another win in, it comes down to the final game. But Prince of Kabul, he's still got a bit of wiggle room here, right? But I do wonder what it is that you had to say. It looks like Prince going to be going with India here, actually. And Cossack going to go British, not going to be pulling out his India just yet. But that makes sense, right? Because British has quite a good matchup against India. No, that's not true. But, okay, that's not... But we saw... Hold on a moment. Didn't you guys play this matchup?
No, we didn't play this matchup.
Ah, okay. Well, what are your thoughts here? This seems like an unusual civ pick from Wicked Cossack.
Well, what I mentioned when you were away was that in the first game, or before the first game when they were trying to decide on a matchup, Wicked suggested that they play this matchup, and that he would play as the British. So this might be something that he's okay with, that he has a plan for.
Yeah. Okay. Well, it will be British versus India, and I just have memories of, I think it was on the Painted Desert, Blackstar
It was
versus...
on this map and the Painted Desert. They played both times on this map.
Yeah.
Or, I mean, both times this matchup on that map and this map.
And I haven't even said who I'm talking about, but you know it's Blackstar OP and H2O.
Yeah.
And that went the way of Blackstar, I think, twice.
Yeah, it did. But
So, British not super favoured by the sounds of it in this matchup, but the meta may have changed considerably since then, and we'll see how this goes. Clearly, Cossack has something in mind. It was his counterpick, and he'd full know well, as I do, and as Mitoe does, the history of this matchup. But he must have something prepared, and he had a lot of different things prepared against you, so I think he knows what he's doing. This guy is definitely competent. Going in with the GLHF as well. Prince responding with the U2. I said before, that is the minimum number of characters needed. But yes, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to game number 6 in a best-of-7 series between PrinceofKabul and WickedCossack. The winner of this series will come to the LAN, and the loser will be eliminated. British, gonna get his scout onto the plateau immediately, as does India. But the other one gonna scout the other side of the map here, and will be rewarded for it. Comes across a 90 food treasure, and he's going to be able to get that without any kind of harassment. He knows his opponent's here, but the snare coming in, WickedCossack. That's really nice for him. I think, though, India still gets this because he'll see it first. But AoE3 works in really odd ways for sheep. But he does get it there, the llama, not sheep. Nice snare, though.
Yeah, and gonna just continue chasing that. Gonna try to force... there's the block trying to come in from Prince, the llama, but WickedCossack's gonna make him work for this. He's not gonna let him escape for free. And
looks like he did it. Yeah.
Did he, though? Yeah, there we go. That second block gonna allow him to escape.
Pepe coming in strong from Comic K there. Well done. 90 coin on the map here too. That he's going to come across another good treasure for India with the 2 monks. But WickedCossack is going to find his 3rd llama, and there is a 4th and 5th llama as well to be found on his side of the map there, if he so chooses to go that way. He may well want to grab the 90 coin. I'm not sure if he's scouted that. I don't think he has, but he will now. Meanwhile, that's a nice treasure. Gonna pick up the...
Oh, is that the hominka?
The harmonica.
That's not how you pronounce it.
I don't
it's
know.
Hominka, right?
I used to... It's the homunculus, but he got it.
Alright, whatever. Anyways, that's a pretty insane treasure for sure. Thankfully for WickedCossack, British usually doesn't have any intention of going for a forward base or anything like that, so the Inca's
baiting him in. He's just that. Like going full melee with his elephants.
Yeah, I mean that Inca can just chase him down. It's faster, and it does snare, so once it catches up, there's not going to be any escape for Wicked. He's going to try to get as close to his base as he can, but that's really annoying.
Yeah. This guy's got
that
good
treasure,
attack.
I think that the Pinka is basically like one of the best treasures in the game.
Yeah.
For this reason. It can just hunt down any explorer. There's not really much you can do about it. It's kind of...
But there's a llama. Is he going to break the snare with the llama? Ah! Yes!
He's gonna try.
Oh! But the deer!
Hurting the hunt.
Oh, God! He had it, but the deer stopped him. But he is going to get home safely, and the llama is in line of sight of the TC now, so it won't get converted and will be safe. But it's okay, right? I mean, the homunca very, very strong. Did take a volley from the TC there, but it's not like British wants to be building a trading post in transition, and even if he did, there isn't one to be built. This is Pampas, Sierras. But we are now into that colonial age portion of the game. PrinceofKabul going up with the Agra fort in the middle of the map there, one villager putting it down, but the homunca will pick up...
It's a very late age up, though, for Prince, so he's not going to be able to play very aggressively if that was his intention. Went down. He placed the Wonder, I think, around 3:30 in the game, which is about 30 seconds later than what is ideal for India. And the age up already takes a lot longer for Asian civs than it does for other civs, unless you put a lot of villagers on it. So he's going to be pretty slow here. But something we have seen from PrinceofKabul when he wants to be aggressive and doesn't get up as fast as maybe he'd like is adapting into that sort of consulate rush, which could be pretty effective against British for sure. He's built a market for now, but he could still think about building a consulate at some point, sending that 300 export, following up with 5 sepoy. We'll see if that is the plan, but for the time being, it looks like there's no indication of that.
Oh, did you see that cover mode? I don't know.
Yeah, just buying a little bit of extra time. I don't think he saw the military building, though, with that Bominka.
Maybe. I don't know how much line of sight it has. It's hard to know.
Not a lot.
Okay, so probably didn't see that barracks, so doesn't know, but...
I think he should be able to assume, though. And I think he saw that tower likely was defensive, so he should know what's up for sure.
Yeah. I mean, maybe Wicked Cossack's okay with this matchup simply because India is his strongest civ and he knows it inside out. So playing against it is something he's confident to do. He knows all its weaknesses and things like that.
Well, maybe we should talk a little bit about why this matchup is considered to be quite good for India. And
yes, we should.
Yeah, basically, there's a couple of reasons. So, for one thing, India can take map control very easily with that aggro fort, and map control is obviously very important for British in the mid game, as they have their economic bonus relies really heavily on having a lot of villagers, which means you burn through a lot of natural resources very quickly. And if you don't have map control, that means you're not going to have natural resources. And if you don't have natural resources, that means you can't make units. And if you don't have units, you can't win the game. But as another thing going for India, they also have the sepoy. And British have a pretty big weakness to heavy infantry. Even though they have the longbow, which is a really good skirmisher unit. In the early game, and in low numbers, they don't do very well against heavy infantry, because they only have 1.3 times or 1.25 times against heavy infantry, so they don't do the greatest damage in the world, which means that early sepoy masses can be really tough to deal with. That was a really long-winded explanation.
How do you feel? No, that's just absolutely the case, and you explained it how it is. But how do you feel about his hunts then? I mean, Pampas Sierras, this can happen. He's got some more on the front there. Maybe it's okay.
Yeah, he's got enough for a couple more minutes at least. And I mean, the thing about Pampas Sierras is that there are a lot of like sort of choke points and stuff like that on the left side of the map and the right side of the map, which can allow you to secure some additional resources pretty easily outside of your base. So even though he doesn't have a lot inside his base, that aggro fort doesn't necessarily control as much as it would on another more open map. So he does have some locations to go to, at least, that will be easy to defend when it does run out.
Explorer does see the sepoy mass. A couple of Gurkha mixed in there as well, which will be quite strong against the musketeers there. Let's take a look at units in queue. 700 gold does come down. And it looks like Wicked Cossack is looking to age here with no units in queue and no stable to be training Cav from with that coin. And is going to be clicking the button right now.
Yeah, and this makes a lot of sense, right? This
button. Push to talk.
Yeah, sorry. But finger was in the wrong place. This is something that India struggles a lot against some other civs, such as France or Germany, right? Where they get up to fortress very early. And India's, they're a little bit slower than other civs. So they have a hard time following their opponent up to the fortress age or pushing with enough units to really deal significant damage. British, a little bit slower to age up than a lot of other civs that India struggles with. But those early Falcons, when British does get up, can still be a big problem.
Yeah.
But again, that is going to take a little while for him to get there, so there is a little bit of a window here for Prince to try and push in and do some damage, but there's a good number of units out
and he's got some longbows
Wicked behind this. Yeah, and Minutemen available for him as well, and a tower on the front of the base, so he's going to be just fine holding this most likely.
Yeah, longbow's trying to get into position. There are 10 vills in the TC as well, and a couple more musks do arrive there. As long as if he could sack the tower, just keep trading with the longbows the best you can, and then when you hit up, you get 7 longbows for free, which is quite nice, and then pop Minutemen at the same time as the longbows, and hopefully a batch of units as well, if you can time all of that. But actually, it seems that Prince recognizes there is an age-up coming. Not going to continue.
Yeah, he just doesn't have enough units. Even if there wasn't an age-up coming, he doesn't have enough units to push into the base, and Wicked's going to be up. He's going to have those extra 7 longbows from the Egypt politician, and he's going to have his 2 Falconet card on the way. And it's actually looking kind of scary for Prince at the moment. He's got a lot of units in queue behind this, but will he have enough to defend a big, like, Vet Musk Falk push is going to be the question. Because yeah, Falconets are just going to be really difficult to deal with colonial units. This is going to be pretty similar to that game we saw in Deccan, where Prince was forced to stage 2 with Musk Husk for such a long time, except that India doesn't have those upgrades for the Musk Husk. They do actually have access to better units, though, but anyways, I should shut up because there's stuff going on. As the units come into the base here, getting onto the Musketeers, the Vet upgrade not in just yet, and there isn't a shipment in just yet either, so he's going to kill a few Vills, get a decent trade on the infantry, but ultimately going to get forced away.
Coming forward there, now going to get into position to set up. The Cav can't deal with this. One volley from a Falk. Does not get the second volley in, but still really, really nice. I think he lost quite a few villagers with the Cav raiding him in the back, but I don't think he'll mind too much given that they weren't in the fight, and this just gives him a military lead, the fact that they were not helping in the fight there. Let's take a look at units lost. 7 villagers. Okay, it was quite a lot of villagers, but the important thing is that he's now up to the Fortress Age. He has his Falconets and veteran upgrades out, and British now in a good spot. A lot of Vills did die, though, but we'll replace quite a few of them quickly with the manor houses. But he is in a solid military position.
Yeah, and Prince doesn't look like he's going to be able to follow him up anytime soon either, so he's stuck in the colonial age. We've been here before, but this time
those
the Falconets... Yeah, that's really good. This time, though, the Falcons are onto the Agra Fort, and there's not really much to contest them. And, yeah, it looks like the Agra is just going to go down, and cavalry just going to keep popping into the base here. Musketeers left behind, anticipating that. And, yeah, things looking really good for British at this point.
Yeah. Agra Fort nearly dead now. Only 1,000 HP left, but the Musks will clean that up. 10 longbowmen do arrive. But the Agra Fort, it's not quite... It is down, but it has done almost half damage to a Falconet. Which is okay, but obviously not ideal to lose the Agra Fort. Let's switch on over to military units. Tiger Claws do arrive. But up against the cannons, this could be troublesome, especially with Vet Longbow now in, and the 10 Longbow shipment as well.
Yeah, this is tough for Prince, especially with his buildings to the choke point here. He's not going to have an easy time if he wants to come in to try to flank those cannons, because he'd have to walk all the way around either the river or all the way around to the native post. So this is a really nice position for Wicked to siege this stable from. So are going to be coming in...
Units coming in from all angles, but Wicked Cossack is on top of this. They're not going to get a free cannon. Looks like he is focusing the cannons down, so he will be paying for this. Final Falconet does go down, but it's 25 Musks and 20 Longbows against 18 Sepoy and 18 Gurkha and 7 Sepoy.
Yeah, Prince is a good position with his infantry, though, with the Gurkha on the right
these
side
are veteran
there as well,
units.
But yeah, the British army is quite a bit stronger, though, and it looks like...
Big sour pop, though. That's pretty good for him. There are musketeers coming, and some mixed into the army already to handle this. But that's going to be what he needs to push him back. But the sour now down. Remember, British are up in age with the veteran upgrades in, and India not really able to get his age up in anytime soon. He's lost his Agra Fort, but does still have a stable and barracks to train from. But he did kill 7 Vills earlier, so Wicked Cossack's eco is behind. Yeah,
and the important thing is as well that the Falconets did go down, and that's kind of the biggest advantage that other civs have against India in any age. And with those down, Prince, he's going to be feeling a little bit more comfortable now. 600 coin coming in, could maybe think about aging, but doesn't necessarily need to.
Very low HP Hussar does go down.
I can't tell how many resources he has on this screen share, sadly. Is he looking to age?
Doesn't look like it. No, I don't think he's looking to age. Let's take a look at UIQ. He's got 10 Sepoy and 10 Sour in Q. He is definitely not looking to age. Outpost coming down for Wicked on this left-hand side. And there could be another engage here. There's only 5 Hussar. Cossack's going to need more Hussar. Standing here protecting his vills.
So, when Prince did this in the previous game on Deccan, as Brit, he had a lot of upgrades for those musks and hussars. Not so many upgrades available for the sepoy. There are a few for the Soar, but one advantage that India does have over other civs in the colonial age is they do have access to both Gurkhas and Zambraks, so he's not limited to that musk husk composition. And I mean, he's sticking mostly to that for now, but the extra Gurkha mixed into this composition will be really nice against the veteran musketeers. And that does sort of help him if he ends up stuck in colonial for quite a bit longer here. But that's a really big, massive units he's got now.
That is really big, actually. That's quite impressive. That Indian eco coming in strong now. Yeah, 20 sepoy against 24 muskets, 16 Gurkha against 11 longbows, and 20 Sour against 15 hussars with 6 extra redcoat musketeers to boot. Looking very nice for India there. Now coming in, though, but the Soar not in position, so this is okay. Looks like Cossack going to get stuck in, but he now sees the Soar. They have arrived. Meanwhile, there is a raid. Muskets on the other side, but there's an outpost. Might be a bit distracted to get them in. Yeah, does notice. Villager does go inside. But no fight going to happen just yet here. Scores are starting to even up. It was very British favoured. It is still British favoured, but only by a little bit now. And these vills, some of them leaving. Not a lot of food left there. Gonna have to handle this raid too. Although, have the villagers snuck out? They have. They're just gonna go hunt somewhere else. Nice.
Yeah. Looks like there's some Soar moving up, though, to that side as well, maybe. They might spot those vills.
Desert Terror coming in.
Yeah, I actually think that this is looking to be a really good spot for Prince. He's ahead economically, he's ahead on military units, and sure, Brit has veteran units, but they're also sort of running out of resources, so things are looking okay for India. But again, the ball's kind of somehow in Wicked's court, despite India being behind in age. And he is actually aging now behind this.
Yeah. Let's take a look what he's going up with. We'll be making the Taj Mahal for the Urumi timing. Compressed there, here it is. Didn't lose any of those vills, though. That was quite nice. Chasing those Soar around, and is going to be able to kill off those muskets. Cav combat coming in for Wicked as well, and he has dropped an artillery foundry and has a falconer in queue, which against this infantry will be very strong. But gobbling up his coin mines. Now dead even on score. Prince taking a slight lead, actually. 2 falconets do come out. It's not 3 or even 4. It's not too many, but it will be a couple of extra artillery pieces. They're not going to get scouted just yet. I don't think that got to see the artillery foundry. If he pushes now, it could be okay. His opponent doesn't have those upgrades in yet, and doesn't have the Taj Mahal up just yet.
Yeah, this is the time for Wicked with these cannons. He hasn't seen the military from Prince in a while, so he might be thinking that there is an age up coming. He knows that there's some time. The monk is going to spot the falconets, and Wicked is not going to push. He's actually just going to sit back again. And I really feel like he's on a little bit of a clock now. He's going to see the age up from Prince. Is that going to signal him to push, or will he try something else?
Yeah, I don't know. He knows India well, though. And he might be scared to push, because we all know what the Taj Mahal is good with, and that 7 Urumis are in deck. It could be a little bit concerning. I guess he's got time to dunk these buildings. He's got the 2 cannons for it. Maybe he can destroy them. But will he want to push further? I don't think he will, knowing what could come and that he has, an army that is really quite weak to Urumi. Not much cav in there at all. Well, there's some, but predominantly musk and longbow. He's going to take down these buildings first, though. That's something he does have going for him, that he will get out of the age up. He'll be able to punish Prince a little bit. But it did sort of seem like Prince got up without losing too much. And if we take a look at text being researched, both Disciplined Soar and Gurkha coming in.
There's a lot more cannons added to Wicked's composition, though, with 5 falconets in total now.
Your audio quality's gone very off. Oh, a fort wagon, Mitoe.
That's an interesting decision.
Well, it might get him... It might net some map control. This tower is going to go down. I wonder where he'll try and place it.
I guess you try and place it on the hunts here somehow.
Ooh, but there's a house.
That's
not going to work.
There doesn't look to be a lot of room to try to place that up here. This fort wagon could be in danger.
He's
going to keep
noticed
it back
though.
for the time being.
He's not going to place it there.
Yeah, he's trying to avoid having that scouted. And yeah, I don't know about this fort wagon decision at the moment. He's going to try and move it up here to try and secure maybe this gold mine, but it will be pretty hard. The siege elephants.
Yeah, they do take out a falc. Do you think they saw the fort wagon?
It's hard to...
It's going to try and go there, but it won't get there. The castle is on the foundation. He's really having trouble placing this. And it needs to get placed soon, because the army will run out. And it's being attacked. It does get placed. But I think his army is going to run out before it can get up.
Yeah, and the Falc's still taking damage from those siege elephants. Prince doing a good
But that
job
pass very strong against Soa.
Although, he does still have 2 Falcons up now that the siege elephants are down.
And it's mostly just infantry left. So this fight has gone okay for Cossack, and the Fort George is halfway up. I think it will get fully up. And behind this, he's got the last of the resources.
There's a raid on the eastern side of the map on the gold mine, though, at the same time as this.
He's won the fight. And Hussar's now coming in to boot. This was much better for India than we thought. And the Fort Mitoe, it protects himself. I think it should be called Fort Mitoe. It's actually called Fort George. It protects one hunt and a mine, and maybe he gives a nice jumping off point to grab this mine here. I guess it's not protecting as much food as I thought, but ceasefire coming in, and Wicked Cossacks, that is his signal to get the hell out of there. But there's no Yarumi, it's just a ceasefire.
Just try.
Oh, your button, something's gone wrong, I can't hear you.
I might not have been pushing it, question mark?
I don't know, you're like much more robot-y than before. Cannons are gonna get caught. But those are Zambaraks, they're not Soa. And the army longbows are kind of nearby. Yeah, there are some Soa. So the 2 cannons, that's not good for him. They're very expensive units. They do go down, but he will catch the Soa. So they're not for free, but they're not as good as they could have been. But this is still looking okay for British. But India is definitely ahead on resources, villages rather. But it is coming down now to there not being really any food left. The only food left on the map is secured by the fort, it seems.
Yeah, the fort seems to be paying off for sure. He's going to be able to force bills off of these resources because of it. And he's got control over 2 gold mines and the rest of the hunts as a result, yeah.
Wow. How often do we see forts being good? Well,
twice.
Whenever they're...
Twice.
Yeah, twice in one series, it would seem. And killing those villagers evens up the... And Yeoman coming in now as well. These are really good longbowmen. And killing all those villagers, he's almost back to being even again. Sepoy coming in for a raid on these hunts, though. But there is an outpost nearby to garrison in. Fairly low HP, but an outpost all the same. But he is going to get some kills here. And looks like he's going to siege the castle. Perhaps the cav will go back. There are some longbow here, but they're going to die. Let's take a look at units in queue. Just longbowmen now. There's no cannons or something like that. And this mine is very low, 800. So I think cannons will be kind of hard to get. A couple of mines. 2,000, that's a full mine. 74, that's an empty mine. So this is still an area of the map that could be under contention. But Prince sees it. And so does Cossack, actually, but not for much longer. That house will go down. Just checking the resources. They're going to become really important. But looks like Prince going to be training Fusilier at his monastery. I guess he's ran out of food, so coin is the only resource he has, and training mercenaries sort of makes sense.
Yeah. It's really hard to say who's ahead right now. It's actually pretty even economically and in terms of military, so Prince sort of establishing himself on the right side of the map with that second town center going up in the middle there. He's got control over those sort of 2 gold mines. He's got some units there, making sure that Wicked's not over there, whereas Wicked, that fort, did buy him a lot of additional resources on the western side of the map, but yeah, I mean, it's a bit of a trade-off putting the fort way in the corner there.
Yeah.
But here we go.
Coming in for a fight, switch to military units. No, they are. I'm wondering, I feel like Cossack's missing half his army, but I don't think he actually is. Either way, that's a lot of longbowmen. Seems like it's British favoured here.
Yeah, it looks like it is going to go his way, though the TC is up now, so Minutemen are available in a big batch of Sowars.
That's a big batch of size. He's got some pikes far forward, though. I guess there's no coin. Well, there is coin. He's not gathering it just yet. But pikes a solution against the disciplined Sowar. But they do have Camel Attack and Desert Terror on top of them, which is quite good. Switch over to units in queue. He has more pikemen on the way. No, he doesn't. Cav and longbows in queue. But the pikes here going to get taken down very quickly. But thankfully, a batch of cavalry and indeed calling Minutemen as well. That will be enough to force the Sowar away. And that's what he needs, 1,000 coin as well. I wonder what he'll do with that juicy coin that seems to be hard to get a hold of. Which I think food is the harder resource, but they do have
yeah,
the
but it's looking like he's just kind of getting run over in this fight a little bit with the Sowar being enough to clean up the Hussars there, and there might not be enough longbow here to prevent India from pushing in and maybe getting onto the mills in the back. He's got a Falconet in queue at the moment, though, and Prince not feeling confident enough to keep pushing.
No, he's going to get back for the time being. Going to pop down a Mapuche settlement. Hand infantry changes siege attack by 50%.
Oh, this is actually
Treaty
smart. The crates, yeah. And also
it's getting to that 30 minutes. You can get 15 chests of coin. And indeed, unit changes coin cost by 10%.
Yeah, those are some good late-game upgrades for sure. And the coin crate's going to be especially helpful. And India has a much easier time switching to rice paddies than British does switching to plantations and mills. So India's starting to. This is sort of one of the advantages that you get as India that you don't normally get to see in most games, where you do actually just have that easier transition because you tend to last longer on natural resources and you get those cheaper rice paddies. And he's also aging up to industrial behind this.
Yeah, rice paddies are a load of bullshit if you ask me. But he is able to build them. And let's take a look what he's going up with. There are some vills going down. Going to be going up with the Carney Martyr for that late game upgrade. It's being built in the back here. And he has a couple of rice paddies there as well, which is nice for him. And secures that last 371 food and forces Cossack off the food there.
Yeah, and making sure to build those rice paddies in the back of his base there, where he wants to put that Carney Martyr, so they will get the extra 10% from the gather rate aura on that Carney Martyr when he does hit up. And I imagine he'll be building additional rice paddies there in the future as well, so some really good foresight there. But the coin crates from the Mapuche coming out on the castle here.
Yeah, they're all around the castle, and that is a big deal. They shouldn't be there. They should be at one of these back TCs, but the fact that they're here could mean that Cossack, if he can push the castle and take the coin, that would be absolutely insane, but I'm not sure he necessarily has the units to do it.
He doesn't have any anti-cavalry is the problem here. He has a lot of longbows and he has falconets, but he doesn't have anything really to complement them against the Sowars, so those longbow are going to be forced to go back, and he will manage to get the coin crates pretty easily. He's also up to industrial now, so could potentially have army on the way. I don't know if he has a shipment available, but Wicked Cossack doesn't know that, so he has to be a little bit careful about standing near this castle in case that 10 Urumi shipment pops out.
The Inca have infantry speed by 20%. Villagers gather from mines faster, and from or just from mines. But no big button sort of coin shipment like the Mapuche. And soldiers train faster. Not the best one. Not as good, it seems. God, imagine if he'd pushed in as his opponent was aging or something and stolen the coin, but even if he had done, I think Prince had a big enough army to handle it. And really smart to build the forward Mapuche as well. It means that if Cossack wants to build it the one of his own, he has to go right down the bottom.
Yeah, for sure.
Looking tough.
But he does have falconets at least. That is something that India is going to have trouble dealing with. I mean, he has a castle up, so he could think about mixing siege elephants if he really has to at some point. But on the other hand, he could just completely ignore them and just walk to the other side of the base, as the falconets are really immobile, and that is what he's going to do. The Soar's just going to run straight to the back of the base looking for villagers, most likely, or else sieging down this artillery foundry.
Yeah. And those Sawa are going to absolutely dunk. Did he just give him an opportunity? I think he thought it was...
Ceasefire.
I think he thought that the ceasefire would let him... but he's just going to...
Then again, he's got the Urmi coming from the other side, though. Like on the
he's
other
got
side
the body
of this wall,
block, too.
Yeah,
those cannons are not getting away.
This is the end of the game, and possibly the end of the series. PrinceofKabul going to be cleaning this up with all of his units in melee there. Although the Urmi not able to get into the fight, but I don't think it really matters as there's not enough units to really deal with this. And you can see the military pop just going down very quickly, and that's going to be the GG from Wicked Cossack. And Prince manages to win 4-2, and is going to be another player joining us at the LAN.
Yep. And he says okay, so we will have a chat with him as well. But PrinceofKabul does qualify for the LAN in a 4-2 victory. And I must admit, after Wicked Cossack's series against you, Mitoe, I pegged him as the favourite to win here. I thought that Cossack was sort of an enigma and someone that had a lot of skill that perhaps we didn't realise at the very start of the tournament. I think all of those things still true, but PrinceofKabul does come out ahead and will be joining us. The SKG field a second member. PrinceofKabul will be coming from Finland to play in the LAN. So congratulations to him, and we'll be pleased to have him. That was a really exceptional series. It would have been awesome to see it go to the final game there. But either way, quite a few really long, really interesting games. And certainly these two very evenly matched. This was a fun series to watch and to cast. But do stick around, because up next we will have PrinceofKabul on. Let's see if we can orchestrate that now, and we'll see what his thoughts are on this series. But there's an overview of what happened. Let's see if we can get Prince.
Unfortunately, the series, the games were actually so long that I kind of have to go, so I won't be joining you for the interview. But it was fun, and yeah, I'll have to see you next.
All right, thank you very much for joining us, Mitoe. I will see you later on.
All right, adios.
I don't have... See you later. Thank you, Mitoe. I don't have Prince on Discord, but we'll see if we can get him... We'll see if we can get him in. He'll have to tell me what his Discord is. But I'm excited to see what he thinks. I don't have you on there as a friend. So, I guess maybe I'm being tagged in one of these other Discords. Let's have a look. He hasn't told me it yet. But congratulations to Skywolf, coming in with 3,300 denarii, about 900 points above Superwok, who came in second. Skywolf, you have earned yourself a subscription to the channel. Well done. You can now spam AoE wills. Let me just add him. Normally I have all the players added, but today was not the case. Just waiting for him. That was a really cool series, though. Congratulations, Skywolf. There it is. I think Prince not super familiar with Discord. All right, we're calling him now. We figured it out. Hello.
Hello.
Hello, and welcome to the call. I think I've only ever spoken to you once, but yeah, congratulations. You have now qualified. How are you feeling?
Thanks. Pretty awesome, I have to say.
Good.
Go this far.
Hopefully, I haven't got any questions prepared, but let's see what you think. That was a pretty, like, a lot of those games are really, really long, and I think a couple of them might be quite frustrating. I don't know why, but the one that sticks out to me most was the Thar desert game. It just seems like Gurkha and walls were just so impossible to deal with. You must have been really annoyed.
Yeah, usually India should be fine there, but all the map control and all the mines, so it ended up pretty well for me.
Yeah, nice. Okay. Hopefully in the office you can leave the Civ selection screen up just so I can see the matchups. If you leave it up, that is kind of helpful. But the first game was Germany versus Iroquois. That's an interesting matchup. Have you played that before? It seems like an unusual one.
Yeah, well, I had played this game for so long, so there is no matchups that I haven't really played. So
yeah,
I have a like idea what to do in most of the matchups anyway.
That's fair.
Yeah.
I've been when I was writing the news post, I noticed that you've pretty much played in every single ESOC tournament since the very beginning. So, you know, you're clearly a guy and you've been around before then as well. So I think matchups and knowing what to do, that's definitely been helpful for you, right?
Yeah, definitely. Definitely.
All right. Next up was Baja, California. Played against the Portuguese. And at this point, the series was still very even because it's 1-1.
Yeah, it was. Sorry, go on.
I was just going to ask you what you think of the map.
Oh, well, I was happy that he used his Portuguese there. Like, I think Florida could have been better for ports, but well,
right.
It didn't go that far. But I was kind of pleased, and in that Baja California game, I noticed maybe he wasn't his sharpest. He was kind of slow to react. So
yeah, that was an interesting game actually. I saw. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, my tactic was just like control my side of water, and then there shouldn't be issue facing him on land. But then again, I lost so many villagers to raid, so it kind of ended there.
There was a couple of interesting things that happened on that map. I think the first, there was actually a really key window where it looked like you might win that game when you shipped your frigate. This was a really critical time for Cossack. He was sort of aging up. He was a bit weak. You had a frigate coming, but it seemed that went in the wrong pond, right?
Oh no, it was for my side.
Okay, so it was deliberate. Unless you're covering that up, because he had a lot of fishing ships, and if that had gone, you could pile pressure on all on the same side. I think if it had gone in the bottom pond, it still would have been sort of really, really strong. That was a time Cossack was kind of weak, and I think you could have won that game there. But that's interesting that the boat was not the boat was intentional.
Yeah, during that moment I thought, like, if I ship one frigate to his pond, it will just get destroyed by his town centers and he had there, so I just thought I will ship it to my side and deny him going to my side of water. That's my intention there. Nice.
All right. After that was on Deccan, where you did win here against France. So that was... He had to pick first here, and he picked France. What were you thinking about France? Was there any reason you picked British here? Is it just a map that you like to play British on, that you think they're sort of strong on? What was the deal?
So I picked British there because I didn't want to use my India in Deccan yet, because he picked France. So I thought I don't need to take a save, which is not as good against French. So I just took British.
What were you saving your India for?
Pampas.
Ah, I see. Yeah, and that's where you did actually play them. That is true. I saw that. There was quite an interesting game. You really stacked a ton of upgrades. That was really fun to watch, and then tried to play against him in the Fortress Age, where he had those sort of skirmishes. And it worked out really well. There was this time where you got real close to all of his skirmishers, and your musketeers just sort of tore them apart. You're able to close the gap and somehow get into combat with them. At that point, you must have felt really confident when you killed all the skirms.
Yeah, I think he made these cuirassiers wait a bit too early, and I thought if I just get snare on his skirms, he has to block with his curse, and my musketeers will do their work against these cuirassiers. And in that point, before that fight, it was kinda didn't look very good for me, and I think it was mostly of his mistake than that I did anything special there.
Yeah, that's true. But there was another moment that may well have been your mistake, and that was where you had a lot of stuff, and given you had a good eco behind it, but Cossack, you made, I think, 4 falconets, and your reaction was to focus them down with a ton of sepoy, and you did get all the falconets, but it didn't look like an amazing trade for you.
You mean musketeers?
Yes, I do mean, yes, that.
Oh yeah, that was my mistake. I should have against these dragoons, and he would have to them back behind his falconets in that scenario. If all my musketeers are in melee mode, kept focusing down with against these falconets, and that was a big mistake by me. And the next engagement was almost identical, and in that engagement I put them on melee, and I kind of destroyed his army there.
It worked out in the end. You got there. The British economy just seemed really strong, and the turning point seemed to be, well, when you caught all of those skirmishes, but also you managed to sort of take down his trade route, and that seemed to get you really far ahead.
Yeah, I watched against Mitoe. Went this against him. He might do the same against me, and which he did, and I started pikemans to kind of kill that trade route early on.
Well, you got it, and you did pick up the victory there. At this point, the series is still quite even, because you've won the first game, he won the next game, and then you win the next game. But it is on Thar Desert where you really start to pull ahead and start to sort of take a lead. But before we get to Thar Desert, I want to talk about your veto. You vetoed New England, and did you realize Cossack hasn't played on New England at all the whole tournament? I'm not sure if that's super relevant, but why did you veto that map?
I vetoed New England because every tournament game so far has went very poorly for me in that map.
Right.
And also I know Wicked Cossack has very much quick search experience and he knows strategies for that map. And I thought it would be just easier for me to veto that and not having to do anything with his quick search shenanigans strategies. So
yeah, fair enough. Cossack quite experienced there. He's played a lot of India in quick search and a lot of quick search generally. New England likely to pop up. It's interesting that you say that though, because you won't know this because I haven't announced the details, but it does currently seem to be that the Thursday and Friday that you play in the LAN, that everyone comes, those are going to be best of fives. There's a lot of best of fives happening, sort of a group stage. And the way that will work is all 9 maps from the pool that are in the New World Championships, there'll be a sort of pick and veto phase where players will pick a map that cannot be vetoed. That map will appear in the map pool, and then there's a veto, then there's another pick, and then there's a veto. The details will be released, but it basically means that your opponent gets to put 2 maps and yourself in the map pool that cannot be vetoed. So knowing that, do you think you're going to prepare some New England stuff? And
yeah, I really have to come up with some kind of plans for that map, and if I cannot veto it, I need to figure out something.
Yeah, and you have to play them as well in the best of 9s where there are no vetoes anyway. That was always the case, but that could be a map that you have to deal with. But Thar Desert, I think we spoke about that briefly. Here's a clip on the screen. That was a really long game, and I think something that was interesting, did you realize, I don't know or not, how important the wood was? Because Wicked Cossack, at some points, you had basically control over all the trees, and you forced Vils back inside his walls, and they had literally nothing to do, because there were no mines, and of course he didn't have rice paddies, so he had like 20 villagers just standing there, waiting for you to leave, so he could go back to chopping wood. Did you know how important the trees were? And if you had, would you have stood on the trees a lot more?
Yeah, I knew how important the trees were, but couldn't stand on these trees because he would have just hit and run me with Gurkhas there. And
that's true.
And he had range advantage there, so I couldn't just sit on there and get picked apart.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, Gurkha's really frustrating to deal with behind the walls and just so much range and no Aztec unit that can really handle them.
Kind of frustrating game in general.
Yeah, that was a really sort of slow one. Can you tell me more about what you thought of the style? Like, what he seemed to be doing was slowly creeping out with walls, and there was always somewhere to fall back to in every direction.
Well, I wasn't too concerned about that because I had Eagle Runner Knights and I had all the mines in the map, so I wasn't too concerned. I knew I would be ahead the entire time, and he cannot leave his base. I was pretty safe. Yeah,
and you're killing his villages in the late game. Every time he was trying to build more walls was really good for you, because vills are so hard to make as India when the wood's running low. So that worked out quite well, and you got eventually to the Imperial Age and won the game, so that worked out quite nicely.
Yeah, definitely.
But up next was High Plains, where you played the Sioux. Can you tell me why you picked the Sioux?
I thought Great High Plains is a good Sioux map because it's very open. Run your cav around, and also it has good native text for cav, and also there is these XP treasures where you can take them early on quite easily with units. Yeah.
So you picked the Sioux more because it was sort of a good map for them. I was kind of wondering what your thoughts are on Sioux in general. It seems that a lot of people are saying that the Sioux is in a very strong place right now on the ESOC patch. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, definitely very good Civ Civ, but I think Germans is still pretty okay against them.
Yeah, they did quite well against you. He seemed quite on point. He sort of had Black Riders pop out at 14:45, just as you were sort of getting your big button, and that seemed really on point from WickedCossack. He also had his veteran Ulan come in at about that time as well, and that seemed like that he had just so much anti-cav that your dog soldiers didn't seem overly useful.
Kind of threw that game because I was running cav around in the entire map to mess up his game a bit, and it succeeded, and I got his skirms down. And but then after I sieged his TC, I don't know why I took that fight after that, but I could have just run away and continue what I had been doing so far. So I'm kind of disappointed how I threw that game, because I think I was ahead.
Just a suggestion to any of the viewers watching. If you would like to receive a host after the stream, because we are nearly finished, then by all means go live now. I'll say that now because there's a 2-minute delay, and often when we try to host, there is no one live. And then people go live just as we're ending the stream, and we end up hosting Mem or something in AoE2. What was I going to say? Yeah, you took that fight, but the Sioux, they just have so much mobility, especially with the Explorer, the War Chief there. So you're saying you'd rather not have taken that fight in the end. It was quite funny, actually, to see you whap out a few teepees inside his base. It seemed like a really unusual spot to see them, but stats are stats.
Yeah, it was just like, I don't know when I did that, but it just seemed natural to do.
Yeah. All right. Up next was Pampas Sierras, and this was match point for you. If you won this game, you won the series, and that was the case. There were a few really interesting things happen. It looked like Cossack was in a really good spot when he got up to the Fortress Age, but you did kill, I think, 7 or 8 villages, and I think that is kind of what made it so hard for him going forward and dealing with you. Do you think that's right?
Yeah, I knew if I can prolong the game after he aged and kind of killed my army or defended, I knew it's all about me buying enough time for me to stabilize and age myself, and it was very important to get these villagers down.
And that's exactly what you did. But then that fort wagon came out, and there was a couple of times he tried placing it. The first time was on top of a house that you'd built, so it didn't go down. And then he tried placing it near your castle, and that obviously didn't work out too. Did you see the fort, and were you worried about it?
Yeah, I saw it, but and of course I was worried about it, but there was nothing I could really do to it at that point, because he was doubling my military population probably there. So,
and it seemed like he was in. It seemed at that point he was in a really solid spot. I mean, if there were more resources on the map, that fort. I think. Well, it was. What was it doing? It was just controlling that last coin mine. But there wasn't. It wasn't like an ideal placement for him. I think he wanted it maybe near more hunts or something. But there really weren't very many left. Were you concerned that he'd grab the last of the resources and that would just, edge him out the game and the victory?
No, I wasn't really concerned. I kind of knew at that point that I'm leading quite much. I had just issues with my macro, and I was stacking like 2k coin at that point and 0 food, so I couldn't mess. And then I had to make this quick transition to rice paddies there, and it's a critical moment for him to do something, but gladly I had enough time to kind of stabilize and fix my macro.
Mm. That was a good last game. In fact, all of those games were actually really long. It was a really cool series to watch. But those are all the games, and it was nice to get your thoughts. Here's the schedule for tomorrow.